Wake up, gamers, because you're listening to the Big Think Dimension with Dan and Bob Video Games.
Bob, our new intro has ray tracing.
Ooh, cool.
KZ Excellent.
I'm optimistic about things.
And Mr. Feel.
No Coke, Pepsi. Haha, what a shitty joke.
Here on GigaBoots.
Last week, ladies and gentlemen, I made a mistake. I said I was going to become the broker. I just became the broke.
Oh no! This is quite the two-parter we have here. This will also be 3 hours.
I heard it backwards. I thought you were supposed to buy high and sell low, so that way you could feel better when things were low. That is not how that works.
Now you are literally underground.
I am game stuck.
Yeah!
Now, Dan, this is really a shame, because if you had made that mistake while running a hedge fund, the government would bail you out.
I know.
But because you're a normal person, you're going to freeze to death sleeping outside.
But see, here's the thing. I should defend their decisions in this case because I too might be mega rich someday.
That's how that works.
I mean, yeah, with investments like that.
Yes, absolutely. I'm gonna get rich on doggy coin. Am I reading this right?
Wow.
Dog e-coin.
You bought the wrong one, Dan.
Oh no.
I hate our show.
Oh man, I just thought people would like some closure after last week's thrilling conclusion. We should move on to what Bob's been eating. Bob.
Yeah, Bob, what have you been eating this week?
I went to Popeyes, and they serve beignets now, which I was surprised about.
Okay.
What?
Sure, fancy beignets from Popeyes.
Yes.
That's.
I mean, they're a Louisiana specialty, so it makes sense in concept.
Broadly speaking, it makes sense, I suppose.
Right. It's just a deep fried, like, donut sort of thing is what a beignet is, but with special batter.
Mm-hmm.
I highly suggest trying real beignets. They're great.
Wait a second.
Oh, that's kind of leading me to where these are.
The Popeyes one tastes nothing like beignets. They taste like just fried donut dough.
Okay.
That's not inherently bad.
It's not bad, honestly. It's like it tastes a bit undercooked, and like I was eating raw dough. It's covered in an insane amount of powdered sugar. So it tasted good, but nothing like a beignet. Also, it was filled with chocolate, so it's like,
ooh, wow.
Yeah, no,
I didn't see that coming.
Did it have the energy of like one of those chocolate pies you can get at the grocery?
See, that's
like,
what I was going to ask him too. That's what I was going to ask him too. Like, does it have that sort of gas station $1 pie but deep fried energy? Like, how does it?
You would think, but it's not as much chocolate as you get out of something like that.
Okay, that's good.
Right. It's better than that. It's like a lot of dough and then a bit of chocolate.
Okay, that's good.
So yeah, I'd still suggest trying this out sometime. I think that I got mine literally incredibly fresh. I think that's the only reason it was actually good.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say, if you get something like that and it's not fresh, you basically should run over yourself in your car.
What? I was surprised.
Well, here's what you do, KZ. You find like like a skateboarding half pipe, and you angle your car so if you take your foot off the gas, it'll just like go in a big circle with the slant, and then you jump out of your car once you get to top speed and you just wait.
I mean, KZ, you did the puzzle in Last of Us 2, right? You roll your car up
yeah, oh my god, I'm starting to understand how I'm supposed to do this now.
It's a very complicated but very impressive maneuver.
Yes, it really makes my mind start working. Overtime.
You want your passing to look like a point-and-click adventure puzzle, right?
It's like, how did he accomplish this?
This is kind of fucking annoying, this text parser on his tombstone.
It's important that I die in a way that I'll be the focus of an Ace Attorney case.
Man, that actually is a good life goal. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Okay, Bob. I need to try that at some point.
Yes.
I do. I am... I'm not going in expecting something great, but I think it could be pretty good.
Yeah, it was also incredibly sweet. Like I felt like I was gonna just die.
Oh, good.
After.
Awesome. That's, you get the Cinnabon treats from Taco Bell. Similar energy.
Right.
Oh yeah, you have like 20 of them in 5 minutes.
We actually did get a new food thing for the kitchen. It's this machine. It's delightful. It makes life sustenance. It's a coffee maker.
Oh, that's not food.
No, that absolutely is. Just asked Tosh and me the other night where we were like, man, we're hungry. What should we do? And we just made a pot of coffee instead.
Yeah, you should have had the pot of coffee and a can of hash. That's how it works.
Pot of coffee, a can of hash.
Oh, don't talk about it. That sounds good.
I know.
You gotta put a fried egg on it.
I'm like, growing up, man, Cosgrove's such a broken human. As an adult, he's so wise.
He's learned.
Look, sometimes there's no time, and all you have time for is a cup of coffee and a can of hash.
Yeah. Yeah. So we went and got America's Test Kitchen's like Best Buy coffee maker, which is not super cheap, but it is way cheaper than the winner. Their winner was like $330. This shit's so galaxy brained. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Do you have one for mortals? I don't even know that I'll like coffee made from coffee grounds all that much. Maybe I'll drink it for a week and then be like, this is terrible. But really though, here was the long con, you guys. The trick was to quit energy drinks for SodaStream because it was convenient, and then quit SodaStream for coffee because SodaStream tastes like shit. That way, no matter how bad the coffee is, it's still way better than that. Yeah, that coffee maker is pretty good. It's called Bonavita. Weirdly enough, we had a viewer who has this exact coffee machine, and they were like, "Yeah, no, it's really great. You're gonna want to what's the term? Descale it every 3 months." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And they're like, "Yeah, and do this when you do that." I'm like, "Oh, this is great. I love having a viewer base this broad because I can be like, I'm getting this coffee machine, and someone will be like, I have that." So here is the problem from that point, okay? I don't want to go insane with coffee. I just want recommendations for coffee grounds. But what I found out is no one makes that list. Everyone makes you need to buy these whole beans and grind them yourself.
Well, I guess you guys gotta get a coffee grinder.
Look, man, I may end up there eventually, but the goal was to do something simple at first.
Right.
I'm just sitting here and I'm like, hey guys, Dunkin's good coffee, right? Everyone agrees? Okay, you're all screaming. I wanted like a salient statement on this matter, not shrill screams about how I should buy beans directly from Colombia, roast them myself, and then grind them in order to get a good cup of coffee.
Yeah, just do another fucking 8 things.
You got time for that, right?
Whatever.
Yeah, you got a French press, right? Fuck off. 1, yes, Tosh uses it so often. 2, fuck off.
You need to buy a kettle and one of those things that you put over the cup. Or I guess they use a decanter.
Yeah. What I was going to say about this real quick, and Tosh agreed, this shit tastes way better than fucking Keurig. So if you're out there drinking Keurig, maybe consider getting an actually good coffee maker for normal coffee grinds. Just a thought.
No.
Okay.
Glad we had this discussion.
This was a good segment. Aside from that, I what if I've been playing Destruction All Stars?
Yeah, that and ukulele.
Oh,
I think are your 2 big ones.
Oh God, ukulele. Let's knock it out of the park with ukulele real quick.
Sure.
Ukulele is like if somebody took Banjo-Tooie scope, said there are no loading screens, hallways, or anything. It's just one giant, unending island. And we could only afford to make 5.
That sounds harrowing.
It's not the worst we've ever felt playing a rare made 3D platformer.
Yeah, so I felt like the progression was actually happening, unlike Tui, where it was like, okay, you get to a new level, wait 3 hours, then you start getting jiggies.
Like nothing felt like that level of despair, but it did feel incredibly slow. Like it felt like, And there's another level to it, too, that can make it so much worse, where, for people who don't know, you expand the world. So if you just go in there the moment you unlock the world, it's smaller. and then you can expand it. And now all of these routes, these branches, these paths have even further to go on them. So one of the first things you do in this video game is you go to 5 different spots on this already big-ass island, and then you expand it to do it again. But deeper in every direction. And I'm like, wow, we're never stepping in a level ever again without expanding it. Fuck this.
It didn't make any sense the way they set that up. Like, it should have just started out that big because we just literally had to redo the same section. Because a lot of the sections just ended with nothing. And it's like, oh, well, you didn't expand it, which we didn't know we could expand it because we just started.
Right. Big throwback, but you remember the Castlevania hallway that made you quit Curse of Darkness?
Yes.
So it's like 6 of those, but we finished running to the end of them. And when we got out of the level, it's like, hey, you should expand those hallways. It genuinely felt terrible. But expanding each level before we even remotely engaged with them certainly helped. And then we got so many things in all the other levels. We 100% of the first level. That was clearly. Would you agree with me, Bob, saying that to 100% it, you have to jump through hoops set up by a malicious intent?
Yeah.
Some of those things.
It's like the final thing is collect every single
quill.
Like, coin or quill.
Yeah.
And those are just placed absolutely by a psychopath.
By a psychopath. Yeah, the last 4 or 5 were just insane.
Well, you can use that tonic that doesn't help.
Yes.
Oh, I remember mentioning this even before you played it over a year ago at this point, where I was like, I didn't connect with this because I immediately noticed now they put a quill like behind geometry you would never go. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No other rare game does that.
We spent that entire game just being like, should I be up here? Either I'm an idiot for being up here, or I'm genius because I'm going to get a quill that they stuck in a tiny nook.
Yeah, a lot of that game feels like they've put walkable areas into places they didn't intend to. Like, it seems like you're walking on top of geometry that doesn't actually make sense as a level at all. Like, just these are level dividers, and you're wandering on top of them.
Yeah, and to put the 2 games into perspective, right? Banjo-Tooie felt like an escape room. Ukulele feels like a dead mall.
Put that on the back of the box. Ukulele feels like a dead mall.
Oh.
During that stream, though, we hit our stream goal to play Conquer.
I'm so fucking excited.
I keep forgetting.
And I
played through Conquer's Bad Fur Day 8 times.
I played through it 0.7.
I played through it 3 times.
As Bob put it, we had a friend who was really into that game.
Yeah, so we got to repeatedly see some of the quote-unquote best moments.
It was kind of like being friends with Gex.
That is the worst statement you've ever said. It's like being friends with Gex.
That playthrough's going to take 18 hours.
Yeah, baby.
I think it's only like 12 hours or something.
It's like if Gex was really into his own game. I don't know. It's hard.
Don't worry.
It's hard
this will be a delightful death stream. It will not be as horrifically long.
Yeah, there's no... Okay, so I think this may end up on the top part, right?
Yeah,
I don't think... like, to put it into words...
like top 3.
I think this won't be as good as the first 80% of Banjo-Kazooie, but I think it'll be better than all of the rest of it.
yeah, that was... My read is that you're gonna put it like at number 2 just because you enjoyed part of Kazooie.
Yeah.
But there's not that much platforming in this. They're just kind of like doing whatever they want in this one. And It's just like a linear thing of just go.
There's a couple parts where I'm like, either this will go completely smoothly for them, or they'll be stuck here for an hour and pray for everyone to die.
Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 parts where I'm like, them executing this might be a little rough, but everything else it's just like I'll be like, go that way.
I can think of like 4 sticking points where it's like, yeah, you just have to do this.
I love the amount of people who think they can surprise us by being like, hope you're looking forward to some flower with giant tits, and I'm like, What, do you think I wasn't a teenage boy at some point? Like, of course I've heard of
Twitter
flower
shows in
with
my
giant
likes.
tits.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
Twitter shows feels like. So
Yeah, I don't know. What's the fucking mystery?
There's nothing in that that's going to surprise us. It's going to remind us, if anything, of the groans.
If anything, right? If anything, Conker's Bad Fur Day may be the most straightforward and least variety of fetishes to show up in a rare platformer.
someone in the chat's gonna be like, I hope you like poo.
And I'm gonna be like, oh, there's a talking poo in this game? What?
Nobody knew that.
What the
So
fuck?
I had a question, right?
Yeah, sure.
Does Rare Replay have the original version of that in there?
It's my understanding that it does, because when I asked people, do you want us to play the N64 one or the Xbox one? For some reason, numerous people thought I meant that. And I'm like, guys, I'm talking about the Xbox remake, clearly, because that's a significantly different version. I'm not talking about...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what I read it as, is the Xbox
Yeah.
remake, which is like, no.
Yeah, no, believe me, we got the feedback. Everyone was like, no
One,
way.
That thing, it has been lost to time. No one remembers they even made it, and the people that do go, oh yeah, it's the worst version.
But see, that's why
God,
it's interesting
that thing came
to
out in
play.
2005.
Yes,
I
that
thought
thing
it
was
way
the
before
death
that.
knell of the Xbox original.
Yeah, I've always been interested in seeing how that was. I wanted to see the cool
because-
fur shader they put on Conker.
Because by the time that game came out, we weren't friends with Gex anymore. So, like, no one was there to speak so positively about, that one. So I haven't seen basically anything except for me and Handsome Joe played the multiplayer, and I just looked over at him and go, how'd they fuck this up this bad? This sucks.
It's like we have this bad mode. Meanwhile, the multiplayer in the N64 game had like 12 different game types.
I
it's-
loved that multiplayer.
Yeah, somehow the multiplayer in that is a fully functional and enjoyable thing. Meanwhile, the Xbox original remake of it is terrible.
They even had asymmetrical multiplayer.
I thought they tried to make it Battlefield. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
they
Yes.
tried to go for that at one point.
Because there is a war premise type thing in Conker, so they just leaned entirely on that for the Xbox version's multiplayer.
Yeah, it has like
instead of some of the
classes.
That's
Yeah.
so dumb.
Yeah, 'cause N64 one had fun, like, heist mini game in that. It had like a racing thing.
It had one side is stupid little gnome-esque cavemen trying to steal eggs from raptors, and like there's like 2
Oh.
raptors and 6 cavemen, or like 4 cavemen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the one I played with friends a bunch was you have to like get to the other side of an area and escape, and then the other team just has to shoot them with like bazookas and snipers. So it ends up like ducking behind cover and stuff. They had some fun stuff there that just I guess Microsoft erased from history.
See, here's the thing I sit here and wonder, right? I'm lamenting it. I'm lamenting the fact that this stream, I want to do it relatively soon because I know KZ has big stream plans coming up, and he wanted to be involved with this somewhat. I'm lamenting the fact that means we can't do a movie marathon of every movie it's ripping off, so that way when KZ hits it, he goes, "Oh, Saving Private Ryan, that's great."
It's okay. They named that chapter like Saving Private, the character's name.
Yeah, I know. They really hide it, don't they?
Yeah, they really do.
They're very creative.
Hey guys, I'm not sure if you noticed, but this is a parody of Saving Private Ryan. I like
And
how
I'm like, I don't know what this is, but there's a funny squirrel here that said shit.
it's cursing and hungover. I don't even know what hungover means. This is great.
Yep. I'm gonna pee on you.
But yeah, I don't know. That game could be all right. It could be terrible. Aside from that,
I was just concerned about you playing the Rare Replay N64 port, so that you don't have to deal with 64 hardware ever again.
I mean, yeah, that is one element of, guys, please stop voting for N64. But like, not only that, it's a Rare platformer, and it doesn't have the DK64 time warp the world shit. So we'll literally be able to beat the game faster if it runs better. So we should do the Rare Replay version.
Yeah, there's little to no. You have to do a bunch of shit before you can move on. It's just, you just go. Like, there's a few things because you collect like money in that, but like, I'll just tell you go up there.
Yeah, the game just goes, hey, you see that talking shit, man? Yeah, I saw him. Okay, you can go on now.
Okay, just flush them. Don't worry about it.
Here's your
Oh,
toilet
good.
paper roll. Get going.
Get going. We've got a job to do. You know what? There you go. Bring back Conquer, have Adler.
Yeah, obviously.
It's Squirrel Adler.
No. See, they make a sequel to Conker's Bad Fur Day, and one of the costumes he wears for a segment of the game is just Adler.
That would be really good. But yeah, aside from Ukulele, we played Destruction All-Stars, but I'm going to delay that again. So I played Kirby's Dream Land 3 from beginning to end, 100%ing it with Eric.
How was that?
Controversial thing on Ukulele.
Oh, sure.
Anyone who backed that game and is upset with what they got, they're fools. They got exactly what they were promised.
I mean,
that was just more tooey. At one point in that stream, we break down and start talking about, they left the company because they wanted to make bad games as a joke.
I mean,
Of course, you're just so toxic.
you're
So toxic.
They came back with the very next game, a good Donkey Kong Country game.
Yeah.
They know that that's a good game. They made the other one because all they've ever made is games that are so bad they were comical.
I mean, there are things.
I just see it as linear progression as a developer here, where they had a small team doing a Kickstarter nightmare thing, and then after that, they made a game that was remarkably better. So I'm looking
by
forward
being
to
a
whatever they
different
do
type
next.
of game
I can't-
entirely.
Yes, but they improved upon. They got more experience with Unity. They're just doing better across the board. I'm excited for their next game. I cannot follow them on Twitter because they won't stop posting about feet, ironically.
Yeah, so about they're still the same people they've always been.
Yes.
This is
ironically.
Rare. This is ironically. This is the N64 Rare with a Twitter account.
No. I saw how this started and it was bad. Where it's like someone tweeted at them with this and they got like 100 retweets of like going, "This is weird," and then went, "Oh shit,
This is our
this
bit
how
now.
this is how we get numbers, isn't it?"
I'm sure the person running that Twitter account wasn't just thrilled their professional and private lives could now intersect.
Right. That definitely didn't happen.
That definitely.
Pretty sure.
Somebody, how
She
big
makes
should Humble
do.
One's Best Feet get?
It's I hear she gets really big. Oh, sorry, big, really big.
Like how that wasn't even rare. That was some strategy guide.
That was
dude from,
official
like,
Nintendo,
80K.
apparently. I don't know. I don't remember.
I mean,
we sent that back.
That strategy guide wasn't rare. The game was.
Now, Bob, this is nothing. There's no fetish about making a lady huge. What are you talking about? Like, that's the.
Yeah, next you're gonna say Mario's just all trampling fetish. That's the reason those are made.
Casey was raised on fetish bait and can't tell the difference.
Yeah, this is getting tragic. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Casey.
we gotta move on.
Yeah,
So-
that's
All
true.
I found out about this is that you're making those dark, mean memes against a defenseless developer that has done nothing but make games you despise.
KZ, I want you to just nuts and bolts, break down the progression mechanic to get to the boss in a level in DK64.
Okay, so the progression mechanic here is that you have to find a boss door. Now it has like weird door with two despicable looking animals on it. And then you go in and you go whoop, and then you got to feed it bananas, which are the coins in the level. And once you've collected enough across your characters, you will then fight a boss. They use bananas as a guide because that'll show that you've explored the level with the variety of characters and likely found many of its challenges.
So what you're saying is you need to collect enough bananas to feed this pig to get really, really fat so it can weigh down the other pig so they can open the door.
Yes, that is correct.
I do remember in that live stream, you were like, what fetish is this? And I'm like, KZ, you can work backwards from, oh shit, what's the name of it? Totally Spies. You can just work backwards from that and tell what is and isn't.
Yeah, well, sometimes I'm going to be disingenuous because that's important.
That's important.
That is important, actually.
because if the stream's balance is just this is bad over and over again deadpan, then it's just bad content. You gotta have someone to fill it in, and then suddenly everyone's pulling their hair out.
I'm just really glad that Yooka-Laylee didn't have any incredibly concerning progression mechanics.
Yeah, that was nice.
It seemed very tame. In fact, one last note on Yooka-Laylee. They really did not write a plot motivation at all or good characters.
Yeah, that was really surprising. That's just blatantly not done.
It's just worse than every other Rare platformer in that way. I'm like, man.
It's really funny because then the next game actually has plot. The little plot that one has like plot motivation. So I'm just like, I'll wait and see every other game you do. I'm just going to assume it's like you guys were out of practice, a small team, and it was a Kickstarter you were not fully prepared for.
You guys probably had a house that was on fire that you were building, and you went, what the fuck's a writer? We don't have time for that.
I followed the Playtonic Twitter account like 6 years before that Kickstarter went up, because it went under a completely different handle, and it was them when they were first trying to maybe figure something out. And then when they launched it, they just changed the ad. I'm like, when did I follow this? I was really fucking confused.
That's really funny. But yeah, so Kirby's Dream Land 3, we played it on the Mister. So playing through that again, I remembered two things really crystal clear. One, that game's mechanic of having you mix powers with animals in order to get hybrid powers is really cool, and the art style makes every moment a joy of figuring that out. Like, for example, you, what was her name? Choo Choo? The
the
pink
weird
blob girl. You get the boomerang ability in her, and what that becomes is you start swinging her, and she becomes a boomerang, and she's just enjoying being swung. You get the boomerang in the bird, and the bird launches you out or shoots. What was it? The cat shoots like flash kicks. It's really good. Really delightful stuff. That's part, though, of why when I got to 64, I'm like, this is doing the same thing as that, but kind of worse because there are animal buddies that are adorable. What? Second thing I remembered about that game, 100%ing it sucks, and I wouldn't have done it if Eric wasn't there. I have done that in my distant past before, when I owned that game before it was stolen. But holy shit.
What's the nightmare in 100%ing that? Because I remember, it could be kind of hard to do it in 64 where you got to collect like 3 shards per level.
Let me put it this way, okay? Each stage has a unique solution to how you get the item per level, and you usually don't know what it is till you hit the end. So one of the last levels in the game, the only clue you have is that it's a cat on the world map. That's all you can see. You play through this giant level, and it gives you every animal buddy in the game, basically. And then you hit the end, and the cat's just staring at you and sad. And that's when you realize you should have brought a cat from another level, because they give you every animal buddy in the game but the cat in that level. So you need to go to a different level, get the cat animal buddy, play all the way through this enormous level again, and get the cat to him. Now, we saw the cat on the world map. We knew what shit it was pulling. But a lot of them are insane things like that. There are also other ones where, you didn't go through the correct one-way door, so you're going to need to do the level again to go through the correct one-way door to go down the correct path to fight the mini-boss to get the thing. Some of them are self-explanatory, though. So some of them, for example, show a Metroid on the world map, and you go, well, clearly I got to kill those. So then you figure out a way to freeze them. And if you freeze all the Metroids, then Samus meets you at the end, and she's very happy. Or completely motionless.
Yeah, that's why I remember.
Murder.
Yeah, sometimes the answer's murder. That's what Kirby's Dream Land 3 taught me.
A surprising amount of times, it's like, well, the first level, you make the flower happy by, like, watering all the flowers.
No. The first level, you just don't trample on the flowers.
Don't trample on the flowers.
And it makes a sad sound if you trample on any of the flowers. Then later, it becomes, okay, you need to water the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a different level. Okay, now tell them.
Now, there's a level where there's a mushroom.
Mm-hmm.
The mushroom wants you to crush the flowers. That's what makes the mushroom happy.
That's fucked up.
Yes, it is. Yes, this is really fucking fucked up.
What kind of message is this game sending?
It's all over the place, man. But yeah, that game's absolutely gorgeous. We had it hooked up both to the OLED and the CRT, and I was like, hey, honestly, guys, which one of these do you think looks better? And literally everyone in the room's like the CRT, and I'm like, fuck, shit. I was expecting someone to come in and be like the OLED dumbass. Like anyone.
I think they both have their own neat look, so whatever. I think the CRT probably helped.
No, they don't.
Something about Kirby's Dreamland 3 for me really hit on the CRT in a way that worked really well. Other games, I feel like, the OLED's fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Kirby's Dreamland 3 has a real textural look when blurred together, like the way it does on a CRT. It looked really shockingly good. And then I look over at the OLED, and it's like that soul versus no soul picture I tweeted.
God.
I lost it when I took the picture because I was like, it would be funny if I did this. And then I looked at it, and I'm like, shit, I agree with my ironic joke tweet.
Shit, I'm doing it, and I'm proud of it.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's really cool that it can output to both. It was very convenient, except for the part where my HDMI switch broke, and I'm like, man, CRTs are great because they just work.
Yeah.
The analog video, is it being sent to it? Then it's working. Meanwhile, my OLED's like, your 4K HDMI switch just shit its pants. Nothing's working anymore. And I'm like, oh, god damn it. If only we used BNCs, like film production. That'd be great. None of this fucking HDCP horse crap.
Yeah, if only there was some way to escape HDCP.
Yeah, that would be fucking swell.
Yeah. Anytime I want to watch something, I have to go to my PS5 and turn it off.
Yep. Sucks.
Move my setup. It's been preventing me from watching important things like Cross-Ange.
That's important. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
At this point,
it's happening now. I've had to switch it.
That's why you
gotta get my value.
Just use your Xbox One S as your movie player.
I was actually going to note, after all these years since the One S came out, which I think it's been, 5 years? Thereabout?
Yeah, something like that.
4 or 5. They finally fixed the Blu-ray player, so that way it doesn't have incorrect black levels. The 4K Blu-ray player. So there you go, guys. Stop asking me what Blu-ray player to get. Either get an Xbox or do some research on your own, because I literally don't know what to look for, and I don't want to. I don't want to buy a dedicated 4K Blu-ray player, so please stop asking me. If I could watch the movie and it looks pretty good, then I'm all right. I don't need, on top of a $500 PS5 and potentially a $500 Series X. I need to talk about that before we leave this segment. I don't need another box just to play movies. That is a lot to deal with.
What do you mean you have to talk about it? Didn't that happen forever ago? It's old news.
So I turned on my Series X and Halo was installed. I would like to note I turned on my Series X to watch JoJo's.
Oh.
I turned on my Series X is basically my Blu-ray player, but I noticed Halo was installed. I'm like, when did that happen? Did they fix smart delivery? I know that it had 5 weeks to download, but I'm still surprised it could do it. So I go, what's another smart delivery game? And Bob's like, Gears 5. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I wanted to play Gears 5 on it, but then it didn't work. Okay, let's get that downloading. And there was hope. It was downloading. Everything was fine. Then it hit 7 gigabytes and just shit its pants. And I'm like, why? If it's all meaningless, then why does it hurt?
Trying to trick you. You should probably destroy that machine.
Yeah, we're ordering the tools right now. Now that we actually have the ability to go away from an outlet, out to where it's safe to take a sledgehammer to things, and power a camera. Yeah,
and the RPG.
We're ordering tools. God, I wish that would be fucking spectacular.
Florida man arrested for shooting an RPG at an Xbox.
That would be funny. That's good promotion.
No, it's Florida. You can't buy fireworks that leave the ground, but I'm sure you can buy an RPG and it's fine.
Probably. It's Florida. But yeah, aside from that, I played Destruction All-Stars. We all did on a multiplayer stream. It sure is an online game at launch.
Yeah.
Party system.
I mean, I came in with that expectation of it's going to be like it's launching a online game. But I liked the gameplay, and I actually came out pretty positive. Like, I've played it 2 or 3 times since then.
Nice.
Just on my own.
Yeah, I was surprised that we stopped having issues at some point that launch night. Like, it seemed like things smoothed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when I injured myself, and I'm like, God, it hurts to walk. And then eventually, I forgot I felt better. In the same way, it's like, oh yeah, this is just working. We're just getting matches, no problem.
But yeah, I found myself enjoying it more than I expected to. Like, I went back and played some more single player stuff, and was like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited to play more of that game. I think there's a lot of delightful stuff about it, and something we did not realize that people should now know for that stream when the VOD goes up on YouTube. We were on Wi-Fi, so if that's how that game is on Wi-Fi, then that's doing all right.
I also was on Wi-Fi.
Feels like I was using a Nokia phone.
No, I was on wired because why would I ever not be on wired?
See, here's the
plugged
thing.
It in, and it stays there.
I thought the Ethernet was plugged into the PS5. Turns out it was plugged into the laptop, which was shut off. And I was like, oh, God damn it.
Yeah, I installed this new modem and forgot to like connect everything else.
But yeah, no.
I'm looking back there. It's a nightmare back there. Oh, God.
Tell me about it. Our retro setup
Wires.
is scary. I'm so glad that most of the shit is automated now. We turn on a console and it's shooting to both TVs without me doing a whole lot. Thank you, God. Because it's a nightmare back there. It's genuinely terrifying, and I don't want anyone to ever see it.
You should take pictures of it.
Okay, I'll take a picture. Don't put it in the podcast.
Oh. I won't, because it won't be in the zip, which means I won't care.
Does it exist? It's not in the zip file. This is the correct method. Yes.
That's how I am sometimes. I'm like, God, I don't. Nah.
So yeah, Destruction All Stars. It has like you were talking about a crazy taxi mode in the single player, Bob?
Yeah, they actually spawns random dudes all over the map, and you go to him, pick him up, and take him to his own.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not in
different
multiplayer.
values.
That should be in multiplayer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in that single player mode that's like you're facing off against another character, and they have a cutscene at the start at the end, and they're like, this event, it's the normal destruction mode. This one's the team mode. This one is a time trial where you're like hitting gears and collecting hourglasses, and sometimes you get out of the car for platforming for it. And then there's the crazy taxi mode. Like, the single player had more to it, despite them only having like 2 or 3 characters in that. Had a surprising amount of like stuff in it that felt like, oh, it's more than multiplayer maps and multiplayer challenges. It's single player only thing.
It's weird because a lot of those are like, they're single player challenges, but with spots. So they could make the multiplayer modes, but they just didn't.
Yeah, it seems like they could work up to that. You know,
yeah, that could happen.
I'm sure they can add that down the road.
Also, asking people to pay for each character, and only having 2 characters up.
We should 3, because it unlocked 13 hours after the game came out. That third one.
Yeah.
We should talk about that. Before this game launched, I made the joke of I was going to have the box in my hand, go, I'm so excited to hear about Angelo's backstory. I would open the box and there wouldn't be a disc inside. They got me. We went to the single player challenges. He doesn't have one. They only have 3 of them. So only 3 people in this game have a story. Only one of them is free with the game, which the game is free with PlayStation Plus. And then the others cost like $2 each or something.
It's $2 for Lupita, but then the next one's $4. So I'm like, are these each going to be more expensive than the last? I don't know.
So here's the thing that fucks me up. I'm like,
what fucked up domino effect is that?
Yeah, right?
Angelo is $48.
No, you're assuming it'll be $2 more each time. I'm assuming it'll double, so he'll be like $480.
We got the gold here. We can't just give out the gold.
You want to hear about this edgelord Bieber baby? Anyway, this fucks me up because now it's even more important that we do the proper single player content stream because nobody's gonna see this shit otherwise.
Yes,
no one's gonna want to spend like $6 or whatever to see 2 more story modes, and very few people are probably gonna play through that first one. I think it really sucks because I don't hate any of the characters except for box top.
It feels like it's really weird because those almost seem like the perfect tutorial for the character. Because
Yes.
it's all about learning what their super car does,
I mean,
how their traversal stuff works. And they just like, no, we don't have it.
You
And
pointed
they
out
have the
that
3-star challenge thing that mobile games have, where it's like, do this specifically.
I like to call that
Like-
pilot wings.
Yeah, I'm like, that seems like a normal challenge system. I would never associate that with mobile games.
I just associated with mobile games because, like, every mobile game, like, you'll finish the challenge. Like, here are the 3 goals that give you the 3 little emblems. So I've just always associated with that because I see it there instead of some Nintendo series no one's played.
It's okay. They buried it on the 3DS.
Yeah,
Yeah, they sure did.
Yeah, they sure did. And make
I'm
next
like,
level
I don't
games.
see people yelling about Pilot Wings, so it doesn't even have the series isn't coming back because it's rough energy that like F-Zero does.
Well, here's the thing. We got a game way more recently for Pilot Wings than the F-Zero people did. Because, Pilot Wings is better than F-Zero. But, it's its own thing. We're not going to worry about that.
Its best use is how it's used on our podcasts.
F-Zero Pilot Wings. Because both of those came up in that episode.
Yes.
Oh, Spot. Anyway, yeah, Destruction All-Stars looks pretty good. But, Bob, to your point about it being a tutorial, you even pointed out, you're like, yeah, the shield guy who gets a shield with his vehicle, his rival is the spike guy who gets the spikes on his vehicle, and you just deploy your shield and bash him to death.
Yeah, it's like a lot of what those spikes did, man.
Which is funny because I use the spike guy in multiplayer now.
Yes, man.
I also gave the game a few dollars and then bought a cosmetic on him.
I might. Ratu seems pretty good.
I was really disappointed the cosmetics, all of them are just like color scheme variations for this game. You don't have any actual like different models for the characters, which I think is super important.
They probably will in 6 months when the game is done.
Yeah, the thought that this game was supposed to launch 3 months ago seems crazy.
Yeah, no, that's insane.
$70.
Yes,
Yeah, that's completely unhinged. I have no idea what they were thinking with that.
That is it's a new gen tax, but I'm like, come on, guys. Come on.
That's not, it's a new gen tax, Sony. That's a suicide pact.
Yeah,
This game should get a 2.
That's worse than the $60 knack proposition.
How much were they charging for Fantavision?
50.
Okay, yeah, it's worse than that.
I mean, yes. Look, man, not every game can be so good as to inspire 13 Sentinels' amazing combat mode.
I know.
Those are unreasonable standards. Not everything can be Fantavision.
I am feeling pretty good here. Watching you play Godfall, that looked really rough. But playing this, I'm like, this control's great. And then I learned that it like had people that have worked on various car and racing games.
Yes, it's a lot of former racing.
I don't remember like some of them, except apparently some people worked on Blur.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, so it makes
I think
sense
that's
that
like
it
the
feels
director
so good.
or something. But yeah, in general, it feels solid. They already said in interviews they're doing at least a year of content for it. So I'm hoping they open up with extra modes, have a quick play option so we can just group up and do the free for all mode, because that is a fun mode that we cannot do if we're grouped.
Yeah, when we did that alone, I was able to play as Lupita, and that was a lot of fun. Like, it makes a lot of the other characters make more sense in Mayhem mode than they do in the Tornado mode that you get to play as a group.
Yeah, once I played alone, I started like understanding the flow of this and actually started having a good time, especially when you bump a dude in the main mode, which is just get points every time you hit something. And I hit some dude into the fan that slices them in half.
Oh, that's good.
So you just bump them straight into it. But yeah, I was expecting this game to like not play well in one aspect of it at all, and then to just kind of be repulsive in some ways. But no, the aesthetic is nice. I like the whole like UI, just everything pops real well, and it controls great. I like the way it uses the controllers like vibration and triggers.
Yeah, I think it's really funny that haptic feedback goes off every time your foot hits the ground. Like, I don't hate it, but it's just really funny because I don't think any game has done that so far, where it's just like...
I mean, Astrobot did that.
Oh, that's true, but that was a different kind of feel. That wasn't like a flat, like, it was more like a tink because you were walking on a, you were walking on glass. Yeah. You got a little peg legs. I think the number one problem, other than not having more single player content, is that there's no music. Like the title screen.
This is hitting that Splatoon vibe where you're playing it, and I expect you to have a song, and then when it hits that final 60 seconds, it does like a sped up.
Yeah, it goes sicko mode. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they have to be aware. I've seen so many people mention that specifically. Just like, why isn't there any music that
Yeah, it comes off as like a really fun, like hyper sort of game that should have music going.
Yeah.
And they have music like throughout the menu. So just make some more, and I'll be really happy if they eventually just patch that into, that'll immediately improve it.
And they should make another character like Ratu. And just build up a meter that for your special to work at all, and then it just owns everyone, and you cash in your Carnado and make $1 billion and win. I'm just saying.
I didn't know if Spike Dude would be necessarily really good until I played the destruction mode and 5 people just crashed next to each other, and I just barreled toward them. And they're like, "You got 80 points."
That's pretty good. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about Destruction All-Stars. I don't think I played any other game worth noting. But it is worth noting that we have been doing and are having more videos come out for Analog Gaming, our new, very broadly named retro series where we just play old games on a CRT filmed in 5.7K. So this week that you're hearing this is going to be Mega Man 5 on an NES via composite. This is a good-ass game. Hope you all check that out. And the new episode of We Share Your Dreams this week, because, oh my God, I'm a little sad over how many people haven't seen episode 2 of We Share Your Dreams, because that fucking second thing we do, that second dream we play is unreal. And
the clip you posted makes me unnerved.
It's so fucking...
That one keeps going.
It
really goes for it.
Really, its scope is nuts. It looks really cool. The amount of story they have in it is fantastic. And the fact that the game just commits to, at any point during any dialogue, no matter how serious, you can hit R2 and your B, who's supposed to be a part of the prophecy, will just go, "Honey," really loud. It's the funniest shit in the world. And it only gets funnier in ways that I won't spoil here. But yeah, aside from that, I think that's all I played. Bob, did you play anything?
Yeah.
What'd you play?
I checked out Elijah.
Oh, Elijah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I played this during the summer during those demos that came out for Steam.
The unending summer of gaming.
Yes.
We're still in it.
It never ends.
It really feels like it.
That game, it's kind of like a very combat-focused pixel art side-scrolling platformer. And then it does have puzzles as well. Playing the demo, I was like, maybe they'll expand on this more, but for the combat, and it really doesn't feel like they did. The whole idea is you do attacks on enemies, and each attack you do gets you a pip above your head, and when you hit 4 pips, you automatically do like a super attack.
Automatically?
Yeah, like your net attack will be a super attack. So there's not really much variation. You can't like store that up or anything and use it at an opportune moment. It's just sort of like the next thing you do is going to be that. So really just wail on them.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Just a smidge.
Right. And I believe I've done a good chunk of the game. Like I might be near the end. I'm not sure if I'm going to go back just because the combat's not great. I think the puzzles are actually the neater part of the game. It has a mechanic where you show out your spear, which is your main weapon, and you can teleport to it. And then later in the game, you get a sword that you shove in the ground and you can teleport to that. So you have a lot of puzzles like, okay, well, you need to leave your sword here, then go all the way to do this other thing, teleport back to your sword and hit a button after you've hit a button at the other end of the stage.
And then you need to throw these buttons at your swords and these hats at these buttons.
Yes, it does get a little bit like that. I think that they would have made a lot of sense to have a separate button for teleporting back to your weapon, because now it's like hit in the direction of the weapon in the weapon button, and you'll teleport back, which sometimes can feel like I was hitting the direction, but he decided instead to just have the sword, the spear warp back to him instead of warp to the spear. So now I need to restart the whole puzzle because it didn't properly read it.
Oh, okay. Because it's a direction and the button.
Yeah, direction in the button.
Is this game one of those analog stick only games?
No,
Okay.
luckily.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Just
let you use the
curious.
D-pad, so it's not too bad.
So there's less of an excuse for it to have that problem with hitting the direction and the button at the same time is what I'm
Yes, but
deriving
it's still
from that.
Yeah, because it can be like, a diagonal or something where it's less likely to read it right. Yeah. I think it's neat. It's got a really cool style to it. It kind of looks like it's going for the Another World look, where some things are hyper animated, like you climb a ladder and you see like way more frames than you expect, and all the pixel is a little bit taller, like those are.
Mm-hmm.
And you're playing as like this shipwrecked captain in some mysterious islands, and the main villain seems to be like this bizarre gray goo almost. Like he's this puddle of dark mud that seems to know about the future.
Ooh, I do like mud that knows the future.
And then it builds up a romance with the titular Elijah, which luckily, when the game launched the demo, there was no voice acting at all. Now it has like grunt voice acting like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, where it seems to be a made-up language.
Are you telling me these people are talking to each other romantically and all you hear is cock block?
Well, I say that there's supposedly a romance. It seems like it's implied, but not actually. Like, you save her once, you bring it back to the island, then she's immediately captured by like these protectors of her. But there's no scene where you do some sort of romance between them until later, and it's like, okay, now there's a romantic thing that seems like it was part of something that should have been earlier in the game.
Saving a woman a bunch of times is the same as romance.
I guess. Like, it is that level of just, you saved her, so I guess that she loves you?
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Okay.
Could be worse.
There's also a mechanic where you're building up your base, which is like this pier. It's like an island that's just piers put together from abandoned wood, which is neat. And your main progressive mechanic there is hats. So
What?
you
Is
get
this a Valve thing? What the fuck?
right? I know. You get materials in the stages so that you make hats. And the hats give you different powers, like venom, or not venom. Well, yeah, there is one that poisons guys. There's one that lets you steal health from guys. And what I was building up to for a lot of the game was one that was like, oh yeah, this will make your spear spin, and that'll be a new move.
Uh-huh.
So I got that one finally after hours, and it instead of the cool super attack that goes off at the end of my 4-pip combo, now the spear spins in place and is weaker than my normal super attack. So I just had to never use that hat again, and I was kind of sad. And then I got all the hats, and none of them were good. And then I thought, okay, well, this is the first room of hats. He's surely going to be like, well, I have more after I finish making all of these. No, nothing.
Oh.
Yeah, so the progression elements feel like they're really undercooked. There's also a place in town so you spend money to increase your max health. I did that like twice, but I've never had concerns with dying from HP loss in this game. It's usually dying from a fall or something. So I hadn't even felt a reason to continue with that. So now I just have a stockpile of money. I have all the hats, and I don't know what I'm even supposed to be using it on now. So try out Elijah. It's $15 in the PlayStation Store.
Thank you, Bob, for your glowing recommendation.
At least it's interesting. Like it has that. I also, guys, the Steam demo week came back again.
Oh, no.
Shit, we're doomed.
I'm sorry. I played some.
I'm sorry, I played some.
Bob,
Yeah.
I'm going to need you to sucker punch everyone right now. How many?
5. I'll get through these as quick as I can.
Yeah, let's
Some of them are going to
Bob,
be literally a footnote.
be succinct.
I thought he was gonna say 10.
I only found about this yesterday, KZ. Otherwise, I might have found 10. First one, Foregone. This game is
Foregoner.
yes.
I was about to say, Foregone, isn't that the Obsidian Xbox game?
Yes, Foregone spokesman.
No, that's the fucking Ubisoft multiplayer game. For Goner.
For Goner. Give me a second.
That's it. It's over.
Okay, Foregone is it looks like Dead Cells almost exactly.
Yeah, I looked across this room and I'm like, that is clearly going for Dead Cells. I don't say that a lot about a lot of games, but that one was super obviously that.
Yeah, so it looks like that. It has fully designed levels and plays more like a Metroidvania and has a loot system like Diablo. So you're constantly getting new drops and stuff. Also, you get gun shocks. And so those are nunchucks with guns on them. It was pretty cool. It just runs really bad. I hope they fix that because everything else on this list, my computer ran basically fine, but that one, it just choked completely.
Well, Bob, you're using a 1060 Ti or a 1060? Do you remember?
I think it's a Ti. It might just be regular 1060.
It's funny because that's not a garbage GPU. It's definitely not cutting edge, but it's not
This
garbage.
thing is on the Switch.
What?
I'm gonna lie down one
There's no
moment.
way that runs.
Has a fucking launch trailer from October for the Switch.
Okay. Does it run as good as Balan Wonderworld does?
I don't know. I didn't play Bland Wonderworld on the Switch or look at any footage of it because I'm scared.
Yeah.
The only thing I've seen about it is John Linneman saying they should cancel this.
That's
which is-
insane coming from John Linneman.
Yeah,
Right.
usually that man's a font of positivity and inclusivity when it comes to games that are maybe not great. So the thought that he said that about that sets
Yeah.
everything.
His tweet, he's like, I got some enjoyment out of this. The Switch version needs to be canceled.
But I looked it up. I am using a regular 1060.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I'm really like, this was a lot of fun. I think it's neat. You get a 3-hit combo for the weapons. There's a bunch of different weapons. You have melee weapons and guns. They just need to get this running. Like, they need to get this running well, and I'll throw some money at it. Next one, Steel Assault. This is like a Contra knockoff almost, where you use a electric whip instead of a gun. And you have an ability where you shoot a rope out. It goes in both directions. So you can use it upward to make a vertical rope that goes between the ground and a platform above you to climb, or horizontally, so you can do it between like two walls.
What the fuck, man? You said this was like Contra. That sounds like Umi Harakawa said.
I know, nothing like that.
God, that would be funny.
The funniest thing about this demo is there's an option in the menu to
Oh my god.
uncap frame rate. So it's like, yeah, sure, I want to run this as high a frame rate I can get that good response time out of it.
Uh-oh.
It goes to 4,000 frames per second and doesn't slow down the game.
So it's just running at 500 times speed.
So I unpaused it and it was dead immediately.
That is like... that reminds me, there's an insane thing where we figured out like PSP net play emulation. So you could like play with other people, and people went, the fast forward button still works.
Oh.
What?
So I'm playing the Birth by Sleep multiplayer. Someone hits it, and they just start zooming around
What
in
the
real time, and we
fuck?
see it happen. Like someone like started a race in the racing mode in that, and just zoomed past, but they ended up losing because their in-game clock maxed out.
Yeah, I was gonna say. If it's a race, it's still keeping track of how much time they took.
Yeah, but this is crazy. But yeah, go on.
So don't do that. That makes it fully unplayable. But it's pretty cool. It's got pixel art for everything. I'd like to play more of this. This demo was insanely short. Like, it was maybe 5 minutes. You get to the first boss and it's over.
When you keep the game frame capped,
Uh-huh.
I noticed it had a bit of a, like, and this is from across the room, just glancing at it for a second, a little bit of a Metal Slug energy
A little bit.
to the visuals. Is it frame capped at 30 like Metal Slug?
No, it's framed at the 60.
Good.
Sometimes it feels like the pixel art does get a little messy with how many things are happening, but I think that's just, an amateur developer trying to make something that's just crazy.
Yeah.
So sometimes things get muddled.
So that thing, the final game, there's no ETA?
I don't think there's an ETA on that one.
Okay.
I haven't checked it out.
Okay, all right.
I forgot to check out release dates for many of these. Oh no, now that I'm thinking about it, Forgone might be releasing in March. Oh no.
Bob, once again, that launched years ago.
Yeah,
Ubisoft.
whatever, that's free on Game Pass, though.
Sands of Aura is the next game I played.
Okay, guys. He's making shit up. He didn't play this. There's no way this is a game.
Dan might probably miss me playing this. I booted it up, played for like 5 minutes, and turned it off. It was that bad. This is
good.
This is probably like an insanely small indie developer trying to make a mixture of Diablo and Dark Souls. So your character looks like an Xbox avatar.
That's good. You're getting me back in.
Your attack button does this awkward punch animation where you step forward, and this is from a Diablo's perspective, so it just looks wrong completely. Everything about movement is bad. I just turned it off. I was like, I shouldn't even talk about this, but I think it's funny.
Trailer.
What was the name again? Sands of Aura?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Phil.
I'm looking at their trailer and I can tell it must feel horrible from the animations.
Yeah, it just feels so bad. I just turned it off. It's like, no.
You're like, I already played Balan. I don't need to keep going for these.
You swing a sword at like a quarter of the speed you should.
Yeah. The next one I played was Lunark. It's Lunark.
I don't like that name.
It's Flashback.
Okay, now I really don't like that name.
It's just Flashback. It plays exactly like it. You hold the gun the same way. You do the same sort of platforming. If you like Flashback, here you go.
No. No.
Do you not like Flashback?
Dan doesn't help if it's Flashback with giant spiders.
That's funny as shit. Is it visually like Flashback?
It actually goes for a slightly smaller look, like lower res.
Oh.
So it's a smaller amount of pixels, but the same amount of animation fidelity. So it doesn't look identical to Flashback, but he does literally the same gun poses and the same jump poses and stuff, just in a smaller perspective.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's
great.
It's weird. I don't know.
That's fantastic.
I guess somebody really liked Flashback.
I thought Flashback was neat when it was being run on a Super Nintendo and looked really impressive. And then past that, once I knew the story of the development of that game, I was like, oh, this is kind of gross.
Yeah, you know those...
Oh, I don't know that.
Oh, let me explain. So Eric Chahi made a game called Out of This World in America, Another World overseas, and nowadays when re-released called Another World. That game's beautiful and artistic and has all sorts of really neat things about it. And there's puzzle solving through a limited set of mechanics and things you can do. The publisher, after porting that game to other platforms, figured out how he made his game and then just made a knockoff and ripped out the plot of a few sci-fi novels and a Schwarzenegger movie, and then added an item system and then added gunplay like that was super integral. Like you get the gun immediately and you have to use it for everything. And then added an insane amount of fetch questery almost, where it's like run from this end of the world to the other end of the world to deliver this thing. Oh, you didn't do it in time. Do the whole thing again. And it's honestly, it's got good vibes, but playing it sucks. And the fact that the publisher of Another World for other platforms just ripped off his art style and everything. This is the same publisher who's like, hey, we're going to make a sequel to this. And he's like, okay, I guess it's fine that you make a sequel to Another World. The first thing that happens is the main character for the first one dies immediately. What?
Oh.
The opening of the game is you burying the protagonist of one. It's like, what the fuck were you thinking?
Raw.
Anyway.
It's about the cycle of running.
So yeah, it even has, like, you know, in Flashback where you get a new item, you see the fancy animation of picking up the item.
Yeah, and it goes boom, boom.
Yeah, it's basically identical. Even has a sound effect go along with it.
I want to see the world's biggest Flashback fan play this and see if he loves it or hates it.
You mean the creator?
I love my game. Time for a Winston break.
You know, some people like Flashback. I think they're all Europeans, but
no, I meant the creator of this game because he has to just be the biggest Flashback fan in the world.
Yes. Yes, that's what I was just...
I like the direction we split off from it better, except for the part that becomes a Flintstone cigarette.
But yeah, you even get the gun at the beginning of the game. It's very much about the gun combat, which feels really bad because it's Flashback gun combat.
Yeah. Like, there's no reason a game should feel that bad anymore. There was only barely an excuse in Another World, which wasn't about the gun combat.
Right, the gun was just a puzzle piece.
Yeah, largely you don't really use it for gunfights in any... Like, there are a few gunfights, but it's mostly used as, like, a puzzle-solving method, not... Ugh. Anyways, shortly after that game came out, I was like, that game was neat, right? Me and my brother played it, and we had fun, so it was a good game, right? And then I tried to play it, and I'm like, oh, this sucks. And then years later, I'm like, oh, this is terrible. Why'd they remake it? Then years later, I'm like, oh, and there's a gross story with the develop. Oh, I hate all of this. So, watching Arino from Game Center CX go through that game.
Oh no.
I was like,
That sounds like fun.
I was like, man, I don't draw many lines with Avenging My Youth, but I'm drawing a huge bold one around this game of never.
Coward.
Dude, that game fucking sucks. Anyways, so you were thrilled and amazed by this flashback knockoff, right, Bob?
And maybe if I joined a spider and also played like flashbacks, so now.
It was really funny when we were playing Kirby's Dreamland 3 and you and Eric walk up on a black orb and then it sprouts giant daddy long legs and you're like, oh. This is the creepiest thing in this game. What the fuck?
Yeah, no,
Gotta go.
That was really surprising to show up there.
Yeah, because everything else is cute and then it's just like, hello.
The last game I played for this section.
Okay.
This game was advertised during various things over the summer with fancy CG trailers. This was a big budget. Almighty Kill Your Gods. Sounds like made up name, right?
Yeah.
Looking it up now so I can remember seeing it.
That sounds less made up than Sands of Aura.
Yeah, but it's also funnier, which is part of what makes it sound fake. Because when Bob said that like 2 days ago or whatever, I laughed, and then I forgot. So when he said it again, I laughed again because it doesn't...
I'm looking at footage. Is this Godfall?
Yeah, I was about to say, this is like Godfall if it went full World of Warcraft.
Godfall is more of a solid concept.
Oh, no.
So this seems insane. It starts out with a character select. There's two characters, male or female.
That's a character.
They then do like a default dance when you select them where they give you a thumbs up.
Oh, fuck you. What?
It's got nothing on Destruction All-Stars dancing.
No, it doesn't. It's really like it's just a really lame like I've been selected animation. It's disappointing, but also hyperactive. Your main attack is shooting with the left click. The enemies kind of attack you, sort of. They look at you and run at you, and then you shoot them, and they explode, and it almost feels like you're fighting enemies in EDF, Earth's Defense Force. They collapse over like bizarre, just giant things with ragdoll on them. I also thought that I was selecting, like, after you get to your character creation, the little tutorial, it takes you to this map, and I was like, oh, cool, there's going to be different levels I select on this map. It's more like Battlefield, where you select that part of the map and you spawn there. And it's all one big map, and you're just wandering around doing who knows what, because there wasn't a tutorial that explained what you're actually supposed to do in this game.
What?
Oh, no.
So I went to places marked on the map, and you activate a portal. And I think they're supposed to attack you when you activate the portal. They didn't, though, so I just waited there for the portal to finish activating, and then got my loot from the portal.
Ooh.
You can also pick up civilians. I don't know what that's for.
The crazy taxi mode.
Maybe there is a crazy taxi mode. I don't know. Your melee attack looks like a Crash Bandicoot spin, but really bad. But it makes the enemies ragdoll immediately, so it's hilarious. And then the main enemy seems to be these giant night guys that I was talking about that act like they're from EDF. And then there's also randomly around the map these big towers that shoot you and just can own you. It seemed after I activated these portals, it raised the anger level of the world, and then things started attacking me. But
they didn't like that.
It was unclear as to what my true goal motivation was, if this was a game mode or if this is just all the game is.
Your motives are complex.
I guess. It's a complete mess. It looks terrible. It runs really bad. I set everything to absolute lowest and usually ran around 30 to 40 frames per second.
Ooh.
The whole thing was just baffling as to how this was anything that got a CG trailer made for it. Like, I don't know. I have no idea how that got it anywhere. And that's all the demos I played. Don't play that one. Play the rest if you want.
Do you like spiders? Do you like flashback? Then you probably made the game.
Do you like Diablo Dark Souls?
At least that one's funny. This one was just baffling.
I don't know. The Steam page for this includes a screenshot or an animated GIF of a guy carrying a giant hand as he runs from things.
Okay.
I guess you can carry those too.
Did this happen at any point, Bob, during your time with the game?
No, I could carry the random civilian I found and could do nothing with it. I found a shop I could buy stuff at.
What in the fuck is going on, Phil?
It just seems like a pile of mechanics literally slapped together. Like there's loot mechanics, there's I don't know.
It seems really weird to say that when I looked over, it didn't look like Bob was playing a game that he should have been allowed to play. Does that make sense, right? Like that game isn't done enough?
Yeah.
Because it just seems so loose. It seemed open. It seemed...
I thought you were going to say like it's a game that appears in a TV show.
A little bit.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
It seems to be a random set of things that are in a large map to explore. Like it feels like they exported an Unreal Engine demo and were like, hey, isn't this cool?
Most Sonic demos in Dreams are more final game, let a person play it than this.
This is like a genre of game on PC, like the open world crafting early access forever genre.
Yes.
Right, but it doesn't even feel like that because it's just one area that's large and there's mechanics going on in it, but nothing that feels like you can build yourself. Like it just seems like, oh, there's this anger level you can raise and then things attack you.
They drop you in and just tell you to play.
Oh,
yeah,
well.
I guess. Yeah, maybe that's it. Just it's so early access they haven't figured out a game for it yet. Maybe this is what they have over at Rare right now. What is that game called? That they've been supposedly
Everwild.
Everwild.
Yeah, honestly, you're probably nail on the head there.
You know what got me there? I went, the ukulele devs haven't announced a new thing because Rare is that dead to me that I forgot, oh yeah, that Rare's still around. My brain just didn't associate.
It took me a second to remember what Everwild is.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
How would you remember? They don't know what it is.
That's true. Right now, nobody knows what that game is.
Shapes
they don't know
and
what it
forms.
is, and the other people just left.
Well, thank you, Bob, for the Steam Demo Week roundup. Oh, no.
One last thing on the game.
Oh, no.
When you charge up your ultimate attack, the voice clip sounds so bad. I think it's supposed to be saying something like supercharged or something, but it sounds so badly recorded and just weird that I thought it sounded like the Wario. Oh, my God.
Okay, the game.
God!
Wow! Should probably check that game out.
Maybe. Do one ultimate attack, hit Alt F4, uninstall.
The ultimate attack is hilarious too because you just make meteors spawn in place above you, so it rains meteors right where you are. It just keeps going, and it's just so bad.
That's very cool. Well, we're gonna have to head to Phil to talk about really cool RPG-like things.
Oh, thank God we're not ending the playing segment with this.
Well, I finished Dragon Age 2. That game was about where I thought it was until I got to the last act, at which point it became offensive.
Okay.
Not offensive in like the terms of having offensive content, but like offensive to your senses as a human being.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I forgot that Act 3 was 2 hours long, but you know it takes 20 hours to get there, but the final act itself is 2 hours long. And
Final Fantasy 15.
You meet all the major players in the final act at the very end of the second act.
What?
Because the end of the second act of Dragon Age 2, one of your party members starts a race riot. This race of horned, like 7 feet tall guys named the Kunari start fucking up the city, and you have to kill all of them. And during that riot, you get properly introduced to the head of the mages, who is an uninteresting elf, and the head of the Templars, who is Hillary Clinton. And they only introduced they forgot to introduce them until this far in the game, and are like, oh fuck, the last act is about these two characters. We better introduce them 15 minutes before they become the focus of the rest of the game. So that happens. But then the final act is just, it's like, okay, pick between the police and the people the police are brutalizing. But they don't want it to be that easy of a choice, so every single member of the people they're brutalizing you meet is an insane serial killer. Also, one of them killed your mom in the middle of the second act and turned her into a flesh monster.
What?
So what happens is the race riot happens, and it kills all the leadership of the city. So Hillary Clinton takes over the city, like she's now the de facto ruler of the city. And I'm gonna post a picture of her, so you know why I'm calling her Hillary Clinton. Keep in mind she's like a fascist military dictator of the city. The picture will make it obvious why I'm calling her Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
Big thing to mention. There you go.
Nah, it just looks like a white lady to me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a white woman. I
not
don't
quite
get
as
it.
transparent as Vanquish.
Yeah, I was gonna say, doesn't Vanquish have Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, I
in
was
it?
gonna say
haven't played
Vanquish
that,
is
but-
way closer than this.
So
Anyway.
I have to know, since this is a Dragon Age game, can you have sex with Hillary Clinton?
No, she's not one of your party.
Okay, just had to check.
I
Dare you even
gotta say, this looks like a third of the realtors in this region more than Hillary Clinton, honestly, because you
They
drive
all
past
kind
the
of have
billboard.
Hillary Clinton kind of has the energy of a shitty white realtor.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, now you're speaking some truth.
She's trying to sell me America.
Now, the reason Act 3 of Dragon Age 2 is so fucking deeply offensive is because it's when the nothing you do matters hits the most insane peak. Because it's like, the head of the mages is like, go find out what this group of rebel mages and Templars are doing, because I don't want them to set off this powder keg the city has become. You go find them, and they're like, we just want to take down Meredith. That's what Hillary Clinton's actual name is, Meredith. We just want to take down Meredith because she's fucking nuts. Your options are, I agree with you or I don't agree with you. If you don't agree with them, you have to kill all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you
You
do
only
agree
say
with
that,
them, which is
KZ, because you're conditioned to podcasting.
Yeah.
I don't agree with you.
you do agree with them, one of them goes, no, we can't trust them for no reason. I'm going to mind control every other person here. And then you have to kill all of them.
What? That's really bad.
So then some more shit happens, and you get to the big climax where both of them are like, we're gonna go fucking talk to the head of the church, and she'll sort this shit out. And one of your party members, who is voiced by Shulk from Xenoblade, named Anders, is like, no, we can't have compromise anymore, because his whole thing is that he spends the whole game crying about the mages, how they're so oppressed. In his defense, he's possessed by like a demon of revenge. Or actually, it was a spirit of justice, but he was so butthurt about the mages, it turned into a spirit of vengeance. Because Dragon Age 2 has some really intense, I'm 14 years old energy.
That was strong at the time. Wait,
anyway,
no, it's after
Anders
where you were thin.
Yes. Anders is like, no more compromise. And then he starts banging his staff on the ground. You're like, what are you doing? Then this happens. I'm looking at a Twitch clip.
What?
Wait.
He blows up the church and the entire religious order of the city with a Marvel movie laser.
Yeah, he does.
How can he always do that? Is that a spell he has in your party?
Somebody told me that I missed it, that there's a scene you can get with him where he's like, oh, can you hand me that, as he's building the bomb and does not reveal what it's for.
Before getting through this clip, I go, do I really need to see it? And then the Mr. Field patented Mickey Mouse laugh just makes the carnage even better.
I gotta tell you, that is the best part of the intro to the DK64 supercut is when you're showing the Halo multiplayer and he sounds like Mickey.
I woke up to that where everyone's like, Casey, while you were asleep, your sleeper agent's activated.
Now after that, the war starts. There can be no peace now.
Of course.
You have to immediately side with either the mages or the Templars. And here's the really fucking insane thing. It makes you confirm your choice, but not in like a box, which would be sane. Like if a box popped up that says, this will determine the rest of the game. Are you sure you want to side with this people? Yes, no. It goes, I'm going to side with the mages. And Meredith goes, are you sure you'll share your fate? And then you have to vocally confirm yes. So, and one of the options is literally, oh, I changed my mind. You're actually right. Which just seems insane. Like from the context of the game, where it's like, okay, I'll side with you. Are you sure? I'll kill you. Oh, I guess I'll side with you. Then I changed my mind. 3 nanoseconds
time to
later.
backpedal that.
So, then the exact same thing happens no matter what you choose, which is you have to fight through the city and kill every single person you meet from both sides. Because if you pick the Templars, you have to kill the mages because they're on the other side. But you also have to kill the Templars because they've been mind controlled by the mages. And if you pick mages, you have to kill the Templars because they're on the other side. But you also have to kill the mages because they're so desperate they turn themselves into demons, and nothing can be done. You have to kill them too.
They're like out of control.
So you kill your way through the city, and you get to like the place the final battle will happen. And both sides meet up and are like, and like the leaders are talking, and it's like, we're gonna have this final battle, but not right now. We both have to go in opposite directions for some reason to prepare for the final battle. And that is so they can make you fight both of them.
What?
So I picked the mages. So and I've talked about this many times. The boss that goes, no, you're not escaping this boss fight. You have to fight me anyway. The part that I forgot and left out was that there's this really almost cool cutscene of him being like, I have to use the secret magic of the serial killer who killed your mom protagonist. So he starts casting the evil magic, and all the corpses from the battle so far like start to coalesce around him, and you think he's going to turn into like a really cool monster, and then he turns into an asset from the last game.
No.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
What's going on?
What?
Yeah, he turns into a big monster that was in the previous game.
I would make a joke about how that has a real Lords of Shadow 2 energy, but that had its shit together better than that.
So then you kill him, and then you leave the mage section and you go to the Templar section. And Meredith goes, regardless of what you pick, you can be on her side, and she still decides you have to die. You have to die. She goes, no, I'm gonna kill you. Also, remember the MacGuffin that popped up for 10 minutes 15 hours ago? I got it and made it into a sword, and the sword lets me do Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep jumps, where I jump like 400 feet into the air, and it also lets me bring statues to life for no reason. Also, it lets me teleport.
Oh, then it's just Final Fantasy 15 Kingsglaive.
So then you kill her, and then the game cuts to illustrations to explain what happened. That takes 5 seconds. Then there's a licensed song over the credits, and then it doxes you on the title screen.
Wow. They have to do a lot of stuff there.
The moment the game fully broke me was when at the start of the third act, where it's like, go talk to this person at this place. And I'm like, okay, oh, it's on the farthest possible side of the one huge map they made. It's as far from the entrance as possible. And when I beat it, it made me walk back. And that was the moment where I'm like, no, I'm done.
Did it respawn enemies?
Yes.
Oh,
this game is so unbelievably cheap and terrible. I didn't even talk about the horrible DLC, which leads into 3, where it's like, go deal with this evil demon that's breaking out of his prison. And then he breaks out of the prison, and he's Hades from Kingdom Hearts 1, where Hades goes, feel the heat, and like shoots fire and spins around in a big circle.
Yeah. Does a little shimmy.
That's his main attack, except you can't hit him while he's doing it because he's like on a platform you can't reach. And also, even they realized this fight was bad because they cut a phase out of it, and it's very obvious. Because there's these 4 statues in each cardinal direction. And after the first phase of the fight, he starts drawing power from the statues. First, it gives him fire powers. Then the second statue gives him earth powers. Then the third statue gives him ice and electricity because they realized that was too many phases. And then you have the choice to kill him or let him go. And I kill him. And then you meet a guy who had been helping you, who was like a fucked up golem type monster, except now he's like speaks normally and is fully upright. And then just to make it even more obvious than that, when he turns around to leave after thanking you, they play a horror sting and zoom in on his face.
I'm sure it looked really good.
Jesus Christ.
It's like, oh, well, you can't kill him. We need him for the third game, which was originally supposed to be an expansion for this game. And boy, did finding that out make the third game make a lot more sense about it.
So what? Okay, I know I sound like the chronologically confused James Rolfe bullshit right here, right now, and have been for all of Dragon Age. But what the fuck is the third game called? Because the first one's called Origins, which is stupid as shit.
Yeah.
What the fuck's the third one?
Dragon Age Inquisition.
Okay. I was worried I was missing a Dragon Age somewhere between here and there.
Was there a mobile Dragon Age that came out in between?
I think there's a mobile game called Heroes of Dragon Age that is like a MOBA.
Of course.
Oh no, it's just like a card-based thing that is vaguely MOBA-esque.
Can they please really release Dragon Age 4 and just call it Dragon Age?
That's what I want now.
Would be nice
So
to finally have one of these just called that name.
Isn't it? Didn't they change the name to Dragon Age for the new one?
That's what they showed, but I'm assuming that they're going to put a subtitle on it at some point.
At the last second. Last second, the brain spider eggs will hatch.
I guess.
Dragon Age Rises.
But that's that. What a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, it really is the worst nightmares with those games, because I was like watching a history of the Dragon Age series thing, and when they hit like after 2, they're like, and they were gonna make an expansion, but unfortunately they were told to use Frostbite, so they had to focus all their time in there, and half the time they couldn't even make the game because of the time difference between the studio that was supporting them, I guess DICE, for Frostbite. So it's like if they needed support on stuff, the time zones were fucked up, so it made it even worse. And I'm like, God, like you probably wouldn't have made a good game regardless. But you really just haven't dealing with a nightmare.
Apparently, one of the tech engineers on Dragon Age 4 was streaming the games, and he had to stop because people were getting so mad he was shitting on parts of them. But apparently, he said, "Yeah, we wanted to use Unreal 4, but then EA said that the licensing cost had to come out of the budget."
Oh, come on.
So we're using Frostbite.
That seems clear when everything is Frostbite, from sports games to shooting games to open.
And that didn't ruin them for a generation at all.
Yeah, only Fallen Order escaped.
It's really
I wonder
really
if Disney
sad
was
how
like, no, you use fucking Unreal.
They just got thrown into like a dumpster.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. Like, that's what you expect to happen to the Japanese industry, like it did when the PS3
With the 7th
Yeah,
gen.
that's what happened.
That is what happened to them.
But EA did it to themselves.
Yes, because the thing is, like, they were making games on engines, and engines for games for most of 7th gen. But then 8th gen hit, and they said, we need to save money by all using this one engine. And I'm like, hey, you know how many times that's gone well? None. Unreal Engine 4 might be the first time that went even vaguely well.
What's Unreal 4's licensing, like 3%?
It's higher than that, but dude, at no level does it make any sense for you to reinvent the fucking wheel for the
I'm
tiniest
saying, like,
margin.
Do you think you might sell 5% more copies if your game works right?
And you can maybe make it.
They for some reason never work it out to that extent. They never do.
Just the idea that, okay, we're going to have you do this on this engine. Okay, how do we use it? All right, you're going to contact this team that's on the other side of the world.
And then their developers, instead of making a different game for us, will be your fucking tech support. And they'll hate you, and they'll hate us, because this thing was never designed to make a fucking RPG.
God, and they were even using Unreal on Mass Effect, so they knew how to use that engine at all.
Yeah.
Like, they had experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it didn't start till this gen.
Yeah.
Isn't that good? Isn't that really great?
What the hell? Okay.
But okay, the other thing I played was Atelier Ryza 2. Got that
How are the
PS5
thighs?
upgrade that's free. They're bigger now because she's like 22 as
Oh,
opposed
that's-
to 19 from the previous game.
It just keeps scaling all the way to 50.
I didn't expect this game to have fucking ray tracing.
What?
It's really lame. It's like really super low res ray tracing. It's just like certain metal objects have ray tracing on them.
Okay.
I was wondering how they would do like your recipes because obviously they have to restart you. You know, they can't be like, oh yeah, you start with 500 things you can make. Suss that out. So they deal with it by, instead of you getting, normally you just get recipes from people telling them to you, or you buy books. This one gives you a skill tree and you spend points so she can remember how to make these things. It's like, I haven't fucking done this in 3 years.
Does she walk into a wall at the beginning of this game?
Yes.
No, it's been 3 years. Like she was super focused on fixing one specific thing for 3 years. She's like, I can't fucking figure it out. I guess I'll go on this trip to this other place where I can maybe figure something out. And so you have to start remembering things again. And some of it is like you don't have the exact same tools as before, so you have to work out new things. Other than the Casey, we played that Fairy Tale game.
We did.
This is like a game from another planet.
I could only assume, because that game felt like it was a game from another planet.
It's like you can climb vines to get to higher areas. You can make an item that lets you breathe underwater, and you go underwater, and it's like an entirely different zone. You can swim, which you couldn't do in the first game. You can just walk. You can just walk into the body of water and swim.
Yeah, none
The
of
other
it's
side.
a shocking feel. We already established in our spoiler cast that they siphoned all the money they got to make the Fairy Tale game into their own projects.
That was a joke, but I think that might have happened. Or Ryza just sold really well, and they put the money back into the game, which weirdly is a thing that doesn't happen very much in the industry. Depressingly.
Seems like a waste.
But it's a really big upgrade on basically every front from the first, and the first one was already really good. I think the story is just a little bit worse because none of the characters feel really personally invested in it. It feels almost kind of like an anime filler plot, because they normally don't make sequels to these. They'll make like a game starring a new character, and then the old ones might show up. But this is just a direct sequel with the same protagonist. So there's a little bit of like, yeah, I underwent that like personality defining adolescent quest, and then now I'm just vibing, I guess.
It doesn't feel like Disgaea D2, or is it better than that?
No, it doesn't feel like that at all, because they don't like recontextualize things from the first game, or bring in or give everybody a long lost sibling.
And it's not like each new chapter is like a new episode in the filler arc.
No, it's not like that. There is a funny thing where there's you have a party member in the first game who's like this little tiny Melvin, and then in the new game he's like a foot taller. It's like, nobody recognizes me anymore because I don't look like I'm a tier 3 sub. It isn't fair.
Oh.
Still no dub. I'm fucking disappointed by that. I guess it makes sense from the angle of we don't want to dub the second game, which you should have just dubbed the first.
Yeah, it's super weird because that was obviously like their next big thing with the series, so they probably should.
I guess they had because I guess it was localized so fast. I guess it actually kind of self-sabotaged in that case, because I'm sure if it had sold as well as it did in Japan and had like a 6-month localization cycle, they probably would have dubbed it. But when it came out so fast, it's like, oh, this actually did way better than we expected. The English version comes out in a week. But yeah, I recommend it. Play the first one first. Obviously, it's a linear progression. That one is also really good. At least they simplified it by removing some of the tools from the first game. Like, you don't have to have a hammer anymore, because it was like, well, you need a hammer to break rocks, and you need a scythe to cut plants and to strip bark off trees, and you need an axe to cut wood, and you need a stick with a bomb on the end of it to do this, and there was like 3 others. And in this
Sounds like Harvest Moon.
Yeah, it is like Harvest Moon. This is actually this one specific. The Rise one specifically are very Harvest Moon-esque. The combat system's still not very good, but that's not the point of these games, really. It's not even turn-based anymore. It wasn't in Rise either. It's just weird now. It's like active time battle, but you have to build up points to do anything. It's kind of like Final Fantasy VII Remake, but you can't move.
All right.
Anyway, I recommend that. Okay, I'm done. That's all I played.
Hey, KZ.
What do you want?
Do you play video games?
Yeah, I try to do it in my off time, but mostly in my stream time now. Let's see. I finished Final Fantasy 3. That is remarkably better than the first two, especially that second one. Oh boy. It has some attempt at storytelling in it and cool concepts. I got like 4 airships in that. I didn't really point out how stupid Final Fantasy 3 is, where they give you an airship in the very beginning of the game, and Sid is deranged, and he's like, there's a rock there. We have no idea how to get past it. So we're going to ram my airship and blow it up, and it'll blow up the rock. and then it just blows up, and he's like, go give me some stuff, and I'll make another one. And then you can use that to actually fly around.
I feel like that would be
like Worf in First Contact. It's like, oh, this isn't going well. I only have one move in my deck, and it's prepare for ramming speed.
It's just like everything's exploding around him, and people are scared for their lives, and he's like, shooting did not work. Ramming speed.
He yells. Sid yells, "Today is a good day to die."
I don't know. I didn't get Worf. All I could think of is like, this sounds like how Deacon Days Gone would solve a problem. There's this thing blocking the road, crash my motorcycle into it.
No, it wouldn't be crashing his motorcycle into it. It would be like somehow he would destroy an entire civilization while getting rid of it.
Yeah, that sounds more like Deacon's thing.
It would be like, I have to somehow make a bomb out of this entire settlement's food. Out of all their food.
His motives are complex, Phil.
Holy
They're not.
shit.
He yells about his wife every second.
Jesus Christ. So how is it, KZ?
It's really funny. The story stuff is real delightful. The world's being covered by darkness. You start on like this cool like floating continent, and then you go and you slowly bring the surface world back together. It does that classic thing of, we're going to talk to you about the main villain for the entire game, but then the real final boss will appear in the last 45 minutes. And that's really funny. Because I'm like, well, you're not going to trick me. This guy clearly was not in Dissidia, so I know he's not as important. So clearly I have to wait for the one with the boobs.
I mean, you wouldn't know that was out Dissidia, though, so it's pretty raw.
Okay, that dude is kind of raw. Yeah, he's a real big guy. Is Zand. Overall, I think a lot of the things that it does are solid. It has that problem of most of the bosses aren't super like engaging on a mechanical level, besides you being strong and then hitting them because you're strong and that kind of thing. They're not like making the bosses very complicated, aside from if you switch to this job, it becomes a lot easier. Until the last boss. The last boss is Cloud of Darkness, who has tentacles, and one of them just casts haste on her. And I'm like, I don't like life, to be honest. This fight's kind of rough. Where I'm just like, please stop.
Okay, Zand looks pretty cool in the sprite art from the original game, but then I see the 3D model they made for the 3DS, and it's just funny.
Yeah, you should post those. I want to see that. Never seen this motherfucker. Yo, Final Fantasy, never heard of it.
So that's his regular sprite.
Okay, that's pretty cool for an NES sprite,
right?
Yeah, people told me to look up that sprite as we were playing, and I'm like, oh, this works.
He wants to know if you have any games on your phone.
He really does.
And then of course, the Crystal Tower raid in 14 made him look at least presentable and imposing in any way.
He just becomes Ashura from Ashura's Wrath.
Yes, that is literally what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit! Do you have any phone? Do you have any game on your phone?
The mono art's really good though.
Can you pick me up a chicken nugget? Ooh, let me look at that.
Oh wow!
Yeah, no, that's blurry as hell. You gave us the fucking thumbnail.
I did. Like, that's what was on the wiki.
The PS1 save icon Bob's posted in the fucking
That's
Discord.
it. I'm posting the Amano Chocobo.
Oh, do it. Yeah, look at that.
So that's why that fucking thing looks like that in that OVA.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of his stuff's a little crazy.
Amano's fucking dope.
Yes.
He's a little bit bigger.
Oh, you found it. Oh, yeah, you can see some
There we
details in
go.
that. Bob, I believe you've drawn this man before for Armchair Decks.
Yes.
The surprising similarities. I didn't look him up though.
Yeah. It was subconscious. Don't worry about it. The biggest problem this game has is you can only save on the world map, which is different from the other two, at least on PSP, where you can save anywhere. Not being able to save into dungeons can be rough. Because the end of the game is a dungeon that's longer than all the other ones, and then another dungeon on top of it.
There's no like save points in the dungeon?
No.
Weird.
No, you can only save outside dungeons. So basically, they're asking you to complete a 2.5 hour stretch filled with boss fights and never die.
So I saw your tweet, and you were like, you can only save outside of dungeons. And I'm like, yeah, that's Final Fantasy. What I didn't mean is you literally were being completely 100% literal of there is never a save point inside of a dungeon.
No, there's no little sparkly room with a little
Jesus.
spot where you save. They're like, go through the like 10 floor crystal tower, fight the bosses therein, then go into the world of darkness, and then do the 4 boss rush, and then go up and then fight the final boss. And if you die once, your option is do it all once or walk all the way back.
So I would have assumed if you had played the NES original version that is something they would have added to a later remake. But Jesus,
No, they kind of like commit to a lot of the things the originals have in these remakes for some reason.
you're at 4 now. That's about to stop because that game is boneless now.
Yeah, we can move on to that because Final Fantasy 3 was all right. Final Fantasy 4 is the moment where you play a game and you are shocked to your core at how a game can upgrade itself this hard, this fast, this immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
That
what a
game's,
lot of NES, Super NES franchises. That's what happened a lot.
Right, I was like, this
Yeah.
is the first Super Nintendo one. That makes sense.
Yeah, like immediately, this isn't the 3D one. This is the really good 2D sprite stuff with really, really nice animations on pretty much everything. Like all the summons, the spells, the way things just die as if they've been Thanos snapped. All of that's really good. In general, it was kind of fresh to play one where it's like, yeah, you have 5 party members instead of like 3 or 4.
Oh, weird.
So that, yeah. So you end up having to switch your back row, front row setup to either be three front on the odd numbered ones or the back row or the 3. So you kind of have to like change what mode it's in, which took me a minute to like get used to because the other ones you just tapped a character to move them back and forth. The story's a lot better. A lot of that stuff in general, I think, is pretty solid. You play as a character that commits war crimes, but he gets a new shirt, so people forgive his war crimes, and that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
He gets a
in
really
general.
sick raccoon shirt, and everybody's like, "Oh, I guess we can forgive him."
My chat kept telling me about Kane Highwind and how he's actually a cuck, and I was
Yes,
like,
he
I
is.
don't. Yeah, and then we get the scene of him going to the main character Cecil's girlfriend Rosa, who has been captured, says, "I'll show you I'm the stronger one," and I'm like, "Oh no, oh god, you are." And then they're like, "No, he was mind controlled. It's fine." And I went, "See, guys, that was mind control. He's clearly jury's out on this guy being a cuck." The next scene in the next room,
Yep.
Cecil embraces his girlfriend, and the next text box is Kane doing dots looking at them.
Yep.
And the chat just exploded, and I crumbled to dust.
Oh,
It's really good because I can hear the melodramatic SNES orchestra strings going. You describing it,
Yeah.
I just hear this sappy like wah wah wah. I'm like, yep, okay.
Yeah.
Look, KZ,
So
Final Fantasy is a franchise with an illustrious history of making playable characters cucks.
That's
see,
fair.
it's fine. I'm on his side now. 1, because he does decent damage, but most importantly, when we had the 4th character sacrificing themselves because something bad happened for 45 seconds, he went, why do they always do it immediately? Like, he says that out loud in dialogue, and I'm like, you're me.
Oh,
This
wow.
is what I'm thinking right now.
So it just calls out Final Fantasy 2.
Yeah, it's like, why are you immediately doing it after it's like, we have some problems? Dude's like, yeah, I'm gonna strap a bomb to myself and jump.
There's so many in 4.
Oh yeah,
Oh, that's bad.
I think I hit 5.
It's fantastic. I don't know what you're talking about.
And people said I'm not done.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is a terrible way for that person to go. Oh, that's terrible. That's a shame. Okay, we're moving on. Oh, that's a terrible
Yeah,
way for that
it
person.
hits the point where I'm like, the intro showed me a ninja, and we have 5 people now, and they're talking about it in the game. How are they gonna? Oh God, they're gonna kill somebody, aren't they?
Make some fucking room around this place.
They're gonna glass these
so
the gap.
many.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like, oh, my coffee's cold. Then one of your party members blows their head off.
That's basically how it fucking feels. Like Final Fantasy 3 has something like that, where there's like a little lava, there's like a tower level, and the top has a hole with lava coming out of it. And they're like, the only way to get this thing to stop or whatever they were doing, and your temporary party member jumps in.
Yeah, you got to use it as a walkway, right?
He goes in and it stops things and everything's fine. Then 20 hours later at the end of the game, he's like, yeah, I was fine. Nothing bad happened to me. I'm like, fuck you. You jumped in magma.
I'm just sitting here. My next playthrough of Final Fantasy IV is going to feel like that Nick J's sketch on YouTube from Picnic Face, and it's going to be like, hey, what's this guy doing? Oh, he's not killing himself. What? What the fuck? Kill yourself, man. You're holding up the line.
Gonna need you to obtain the party members' Palom and Porum. Make sure to rename them to Dip and Shit. because half my chat was like, fuck you, don't you dare. The other half's like, let's fucking go.
I mean, let's be honest. Palom and Porum should have been named that because you heard them speak.
I hear those 2 characters come back in Lost Odyssey. Very excited.
Dinner.
Oh,
Now, KZ,
yes.
do you intend to play Final Fantasy IV: The After Years?
No. No, because every single time it's come up is someone asking, and no one in the chat has said it's even okay.
No, it's terrible.
Everyone's like, no, it's terrible. It's really bad. That's all I hear about it. I'm also not going to check out the thing they made exclusively for the PSP one, an extra third game called like Interlude. That's a bridge game between 4 and the After Years that they made for the PSP game, because this is called Final Fantasy IV Complete Collection.
Yeah. No, KZ, I say this as me.
Yes.
It's not worth your time. You're better spending that time on Mystic Quest.
When something releases initially as a WiiWare game for a game that came out like 20 years
that's
before,
how I knew.
That's
how I
not.
knew.
That's the
but
reddest
that's
flag
when it
there's
came
ever
out.
been.
I've been told repeatedly that those Rebirth games that were just them throwing together all the sprites they had for Castlevania and Blaster Master and Contra were good.
I wish it was them doing that. Like, fucking, that Castlevania Rebirth game sprite work looks nowhere near official.
I mean, some of it's just ripped from the Game Boy Advance games.
Yes,
Yeah,
some
I
of them are
remember the
ripped
Game
from
Boy
Aria of
Advance
Sorrow.
skeletons.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was insane. God, fuck. Okay, we need to not talk about WiiWare.
Yeah, okay. Going from the early Final Fantasies very recently to this one really shows the combat system open up, where before it was the enemy's just going to hit me really hard. This one hits everyone with Fyra. And, the final boss of 3 will cast haste on itself, and then the battle almost becomes unwinnable. But with 4, you'll get stuff like one of the 4 Archfiends is like, okay, I'm going to make a tsunami, but if you cast thunder on me, I can't do it. Like, it stops him, and he's, like, charging it up. Or, Ruby Conte, the big fire dude who takes up the entire screen space vertically. He is incredibly tall.
That actually is supposed to be lubricant. Slight translation error there.
I believe I was calling him Richard on stream.
He believes that duels should be fought honorably, which I remember because I've listened to that song like 1,000 times and can remember the subtitle.
Oh yeah, as soon as the track played, I'm like, oh shit, this is the Hyodane guys.
Yeah.
I was like, I know all about this. But then you fight that dude, and he's like, I want to fight you honorably, and then he just fully heals you before the fight starts, and has the gimmick of when his cloak's out, he's vulnerable to ice magic, but when it's up, he absorbs it. So he just has stance changes, but also when his cloak is up, if you hit him, he auto counters with fire on the entire party.
Yep.
So there's a lot of like timing based stuff in addition to weakness stuff, and ATB is leagues better than what they were doing before, which was turn based. Everyone executes their turn, gives the orders, then you watch them play out, which means if someone's dead, there's no hope. There's no hope here because you're going to revive them and then they're going to die before you can heal them. Here I was able to constantly bring people back up really fast, which is helpful given the fact there's like 5 party members. It's really easy to like move that stuff around. And just in general, I'm thinking the entire time on every boss fight, which I definitely was not in any of the other ones for the most part. It was just my number's big. I'm just gonna win now. Now it's stuff like you're fighting the Magus sisters, and they cast Reflect on one of them to bounce spells at you, but then they bounced to Reflect onto my party, so I threw my big spells onto my reflected party member because the Reflect doesn't work if it's something that I bounced on a Reflect. So it just bypasses it. So I was able to just nuke them really fast.
I think that's something they carry over into 9.
Oh,
I think that's every game that has Reflect. I don't think any game that has Reflect is like, no, you can keep Reflect.
They don't let it bounce more than once. So if I'm reflected and they're reflected, I throw it on my Reflect. It'll just land on them.
Yep.
It won't tennis ball its way around.
That's the strat.
Yeah, and I think there's even in 9 like some ability that lets you like your spell damage doubles if you reflect it. So your whole thing is cast Reflect on yourself, cast that on yourself, and then they die.
Yes. It's really good.
Yes, I think it's literally called Reflect X2.
Yeah, this game is delightful. Its soundtrack is incredible. It's my favorite of the 4 so far.
Oh yeah, really amazing.
I as someone who experienced this game's soundtrack for the first time in the 90s from Super Mario RPG, that's the boss theme for Final Fantasy IV is one of the best songs in the series. Still,
yeah, it's a really good theme.
Yeah, I love that, and that's why I'm so glad there's so many bosses in this. So it just immediately kicks up. But yeah, I highly recommend people like play this one. And I'm definitely glad I didn't do the 3D one, since everyone's like, yeah, it's good, but it adds extra systems and changes everyone's weaknesses to fuck with people who play the original.
Oh come on.
Ooh.
People always say, well, the PSP one's easy because it kind of matches up with the originals, but the 3D remake makes it so like people have the opposite gimmick or something to fuck with veterans. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't.
That's
something I would do in a second playthrough as opposed to the way I would experience
Yeah.
that feels like a mode you should be able to activate. Doesn't
Right.
feel like the way it should have just been.
Right. And here's the thing, though. The PSP one's even easy compared to, at least in my recollection, in my experience, it's even easy compared to the original US release, which itself was based off of Easy Type, if I remember. So here's how...
Yeah, I did hear they gimped the SNES version on over here.
Yes. So here's how things should have gone, and in my experience, the PSP version didn't work anything like this. That magnetic cave, lodestone cavern, should have probably ground your nuts into a dust. but in the PSP one, it was kind of just whatever.
Oh yeah, I unequipped all my swords, put a bow on, put Cecil in the back row because he can't use the sword in the magnetic cave.
Oh, stupid asshole, sit back here.
And I grinded like 3 levels beforehand to just give myself a safety net, hit the select button for auto attack, and just kind of walked my way through it until we reached the end.
Yep. I was like,
and it was
it's so easy.
And the only time I paid attention was when I had to fight that dark elf.
Yeah, that guy's still a badass, but
some of the later bosses can be kind of tough.
Yes,
but I've been getting an edge because I've been starting so many bosses throwing the spider silk item that just casts slow immediately.
Smart,
but it does feel thrilling. I'm playing on like the second highest like ATB speed on active, just to at least make it like interesting. I got a panic menu now.
I've been wanting to go through that game again and for years, and Bob hasn't played it through, so I'm sure he'll enjoy Nick J's The Final Fantasy.
I'm really sad to hear this because that was the worst part of Final Fantasy 2.
I've actually been keeping this a secret from him for years.
Oh no.
That's
I'm like, no,
honestly,
4 doesn't. Nope.
honestly, as someone who played 2 and has played 4, there's more in 4.
Oh yeah, there's
a lot of people. A lot of people die in 2, but they don't join your party. They're like, oh, this dude showed up and he knows about this thing that'll help the rebellion, and then he dies. Or it's the king in 2, and then he like dies. But here it's like, here's a party member and they're gone. Here's another one, and the fact that 2 of them happen within 30 minutes.
Ugh.
It's insane.
It's delightful. I don't know what you're talking about.
It becomes farcical, which makes it good.
Okay,
And
yes.
I'm like,
There's definitely a point where you go, okay, now you got to be kidding.
okay, there's a part where someone literally went 90s RPGs are dumb and bad, and everyone's like, what do you mean it's good? And it's a very, very light thing of them talking about crystals in this game. They're like, well, now we got to focus on the real thing. There are dark crystals. And I'm like, this rules. They're like, you got to get the dark earth crystal and the dark fire crystal.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
good.
this is fantastic. I'm probably giving it like an 8 or a 9 if it keeps this up, and then avoiding every new thing they made about the game afterward.
smart.
And then, that's smart. That's all I played, aside from Destruction All Stars. So we're good.
Well, then, after 2 hours of podcast, it's time to talk about the Podlords.
The
It's a good thing there's no news.
Podlords.
We have Podlords though. Oh fuck.
Here's some news. You getting bitches?
I'm gonna go ahead and not get bitches and leave this call when we hit stop. and tell you to zip this fast.
Yes, that's right. The Podlords. Podlords such as Denny Richardson, E. Lee Broyles, Corey Brown, Red Blaze 27, Terrible Lizard Mess, Anime is for Jerks, Suzu Shiro, Shibi Weeby,
Never change. Ever.
the ultimate champion who will save Thetis and kill the stock market, Cornbreaded Hawk Pockets Extreme.
What is going on? Oh, is that double? Which
Yeah,
one is that?
That's double.
Okay.
That's their bald form, even double extreme.
A Reuben with turkey is actually called a Rachel. It's a fact, Pablo. The Busey bit started the same day as Stadia's launch and persists through its slow death. Stadia, this is for you.
I would watch Dr. Gary. He just screams at people.
Yeah.
Give me $200.
101 Shades of Wonderful thanks KZ for the Animorphs reference.
No problem. Would you like to hear about the opening pitch again?
Matty Mo. Mr. I Like Spam.
Woo.
I had some today.
WTF Spider-Man W. DFW 3K, who made their image a cat. Thanks for the cat picture.
Meow.
Me when Melvin Capital says the Redditors are hurting them.
This is still good.
It's a good image from last week. Go watch that.
Yep.
Ah, yes. The only gift cards true gamers will ever need.
Google Play.
Santi Kunai. Kristen C. Once again, Podlords with facts. Due to the volume of chicken in the giant Popeyes bucket still being the same, KZ is correct that it was sentient and grew legs.
Oh my god.
I would argue the demon ate enough chicken that made up his volume.
I would argue that you
arguing.
should shut the fuck up.
Nope, I'm with Phil on this one.
I always thought the bottom of the bucket was just empty, so he just got in the bottom, and only that top part had chicken in
The
it.
rest of them are like,
Whatever,
get it
you're-
in the book.
You're both terrorists.
Friday night doinkin'. Devil Summoner Raido Kuzunoha versus Digital Devil Saga. Switch Edition. Killer 7 when? Adam put a brain in your bomb. This serves no real purpose and the bomb just keeps screaming. This problem will solve itself.
Oh, okay.
Kyle Bjork. It only took a month and a half, but I finally downloaded a smart delivery game. Hell yeah, I'm worth keeping. No, wait, not the bat! Makoto Nagi is now a multimillionaire, leaving Togami destitute.
Oh, that's fucked up.
It's a cold, and it's a broken... What the hell is this sentence? It's a cold, and it's a broken-kneed tomboy? Okay.
That's it. Moving on.
I read it.
Thanks for the cash.
Zilter. Nintendo's nursing home aide. Hyphen, please help. They keep talking about the good old days. Zasterder. Also, try out Lobotomy Corporation. Please, Mr. Bobber, may I traded this scratched up copy of GTA 5 on PS3 for one measly stock?
No.
Blig de Blue. Schlig dis Poo. Craig Goss.
Craig? Yeah.
Cyberpunk is out, but I'll continue playing Dragon Quest. Instant death spells suck. Daniel, the Taco Bell nacho fries in my burrito did not satiate me. Bring me Beaver Warrior so that I may consume him. Podlords such as running a late bit and just barely getting included. We are the Podlords, Kupo.
Yar.
This is fucked up. Podlord, you are on notice. Do this again, and I'm not reading it. However, I've read it now, and now everyone else deserves to share the pain. That satisfying feeling when you pull out an ingrown hair after an hour and get blood all over the bathroom.
All right.
When I say I fucked your mom, you best believe that I mean I fucked your mom. Behind the scenes footage of Armored Chair Dev's Altered Beast.
Hold up. Let me get a fucking magnifying glass. Oh, there we go. I'm so strong.
All right, so strong. So you know how I keep complimenting that Cooper tank image?
Yeah, I was about to ask you. I need a Cooper tank update.
Cooperi Busey.
No!
Oh.
They're like, I look fine. Just look closer, and then it does that SpongeBob zoom in.
Yes. I forgot to change my name again. Here's triple double crunch crunch Z Rapsolid.
Don't put it on any tape.
35 pounds.
Behold the Busey Empire. Indigo Sykes. And I am genuinely sorry. Will bought a CRT because of GigaBoots. Thank you very much to our podlords.
Thank you, Podlord.
Thank you, Podlords.
Thank you, podlord.
Enjoy your CRT.
Enjoy your CRT. I'm sorry.
And if you'd like to become a podlord, go to our Patreon at patreon.com/gbpodcast. For as little as $5 a month, you get many benefits such as early access to Mondo Cool and Chugging Bleach, our 2 anime review podcasts, Cursed Content Club commentary tracks where we talk over bad movies, Cursed Content by Committee, our Patreon exclusive user-voted Cursed Content show, which also comes with a commentary track, and extended Armchair Dev pitches, one of which we released 4 days before this came out. You can go listen to it if you become a patron. It's for Altered Beast. That's patreon.com/GB podcast.
That Altered Beast one is one of the funniest extras we've ever had.
Yes.
It's one of the funniest extras we've ever had. If only we could get it to work. So we got news.
No way.
Casey, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about Neo. Let's move on to the rest of the news, though.
Okay.
How did that God of War patch sneak up on us that fast?
Yeah, it's just out.
It's just like, hey, what's up on 4K 60? And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
and you're free with the PlayStation Collection with PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
So those people who bought a disc to play the unpatched version of the game to get that now there was no reason.
Yeah. So that's just out. And I haven't tried it or anything, but that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's cool as hell. I really like that game. I would love it to run at 60. It ran like not quite 60 at 1080p before. We're running at 4K 60. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to potential videos that outline like how that looks.
I can't wait for that to look better than 95% of games this gen.
Yeah.
Probably.
He doesn't mean 8th gen.
No, I mean the PS5,
Ninth
Xbox Series
gen.
X.
Yeah. A little bit of news we didn't cover last week. Bleeding Edge is not getting any more content.
After 10 months of being out.
10 months of being out. They are no longer going to develop anything more. I thought this was obvious, but apparently they felt it was worth announcing. I assumed
They just
when they hadn't made a character in so long.
Right, I was like, this has been 6 months since they've done anything.
Maybe more.
You could think they were working on the hype next gen version with a bunch more content.
Like a weird
They're
kangaroo.
stupid.
That's racist.
They do a crossover and they add Kangaroo Jack.
God, this is fucked up too because they announced this 30 minutes after we finished recording. To the point where it feels like bust out the microphones.
Yeah, this is not great.
I was willing.
So that was, that's done. I guess now, because when we played Destruction All-Stars, a lot of people kept pulling out Bleeding Edge to compare it to, which I think is disingenuous. No part of Destruction All-Stars makes me livid or grossed out. And the gameplay feels better, honestly.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Bleeding Edge feeling is good to control.
Bleeding Edge feels worse than a lot of Korean free-to-play shooters I played.
Right, like Destruction All-Stars feels like a driving game. This Bleeding Edge never felt like an action game. Like that's all one at all.
Yeah, no, not in the least.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a stroke at least 2 of these stories, so we're gonna skip over to other Microsoft news. Perfect Dark.
Oh.
Let's go to Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark. That's the quadruple A game they revealed a month ago.
Oh God,
a month ago.
2 months ago, yeah.
2 months ago.
6 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago, they announced Perfect Dark, and the most senior designer on staff, like the most senior, has quit for personal reasons, continuing the trend of staff leaving within 6 weeks of an Xbox game being announced.
This
which
was
has
literally
happened.
on our things we didn't want to have happen on Big Things.
This is literally the last thing we wanted to have happen.
I'm pretty sure I wrote that too. I'm like, please do not make me have to write this specific type of news because it happened like 3 or 4 times before.
Yeah, so it happened again. This time it's being said that it's for personal reasons and some things did happen in that person's life. So it is entirely possible that it's not an
personal reasons that have to do with Microsoft.
Right. It could not.
On the spectrum of bad Microsoft they're leaving or news about a game.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty low there. Low on the threat level. It's not major director has left. It's not we don't know what our game is.
I don't know. This is still pretty bad.
I would say this is third tier, right? Because first and second go to producer and director, right? But when you're a designer, you're probably like they describe it as senior designer. That's probably gameplay designer, which is only one stop short of a director. Like when you look at structures of studios, it's usually, producer and director, and then below that you have lead gameplay designer or lead designer sort of thing. But
yeah,
this game
just seems not as bad because the other ones make me feel like their games are doomed.
Well, this game's nowhere near done apparently, so I guess we're fine.
Yeah. Whatever.
They apparently haven't started on it so they can replace him without changing the game too much.
Nobody ever said that, but and it doesn't matter. Let's move on to Google News.
Oh no.
Okay, I stood up and started clapping and cackling that the day finally came that this news had appeared.
See, I have the opposite reaction, Casey, because I started to be more excited than I've ever been in my entire life. And then I read the second half where it's like, Stadia isn't closing, they're just shutting down the studios. I'm like, oh, I should only be like at a 7 and not 12.
No, it's fine. So, if you'll remember, we put in the news document the main character of Twitter, which is a Stadia man who worked at the Stadia internal development studios and was just talking about streamers should pay developers to play their games, and then started fighting Alex Navarro on Giant Bomb, who made a snap of how's Stadia doing. He's like, better than Giant Bomb. Google Stadia is shutting down all their internal development studios and will no longer be making any exclusive first-party games. Jade Raymond has left the company. A source says Google was a terrible place to make games. Imagine Amazon, but under-resourced. And Google will be searching out third-party streaming games by offering their streaming tech.
Port it to Linux, which no one will do.
Yeah, no, like that's too much fucking work. They're going to get their lunch eaten by Luna easily.
It's so funny that the same exact thing that the Steam machines tried, and it's just like it didn't work for Valve. It's not going to work for you either.
No, it's different because I'm going to be honest. As lame duck as Steam machines were, I think there's more of a market for what that was than this.
Yeah, no, it is like
How
a worse
sad.
version because it straps on that extra layer of also it's streamed.
It's going to ruin your bandwidth cap, and you have to keep paying to play the games you bought with money in a decent quality. What?
Yeah, that's really bad.
That's even dumber. What a bad proposition.
This was crazy. Just God. People went back to that thing of like, here's all the retro gaming things they set up on near the building they revealed Stadia in. None of them make actual sense because there's like ET here. Why would they want to fail your video game here? They don't know what video games are.
Do you think?
Yeah, there was ET, the
that,
Power Glove, and something else that failed.
Do you think they told somebody like who knew things, pick out things for our display, and he's like, the fucking executive won't know. I'm gonna pick out shit that tells this thing's real fate.
Yeah. That's what I assumed, which is funny as hell.
Do we know how many devs they like bought up that are now just on the street because they have nothing?
I mean, unlike Amazon, they didn't buy
firing
studios.
anyone.
I think they just made new studios, Bob.
Okay. At least it's not that story of like we've absorbed all these studios to now shut down.
No, it's more we have a Suicide Squad. We got Jade Raymond, Phil Harrison.
All of them are being moved to
the
other
kiss
positions.
of death
They
for
said,
any
I think.
launch.
So now, I don't know. I guess whoever was going to be working on, I don't know. They didn't announce anything, did they?
Yeah, they didn't. Everyone's just going, yeah, games take 3 years to make. They didn't even get even close to trying at all. And what they said about, I think it was like 150 people were, affected by the shutdown. But they said, don't worry. They're going to get most of them to go onto other Google projects.
It's like, no, you aren't, asshole.
It's
you
like,
think
yeah, those
you
things
will.
that'll also get shut down.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, that's just Google.
That whole proposition is we hired all these people for the game industry. So really, they'll want to work some other random desk job that has nothing to do with what they're passionate about.
Yeah, they want to do graphic design for Gmail.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that way,
they made their logo worse.
Nice.
Again.
As we get further and further down this Google Stadia shutting down hole, I realize I cannot see the person that I know personally works at Google on Stadia ever again in my life because I won't be able to stop smiling.
If anyone's earned it, it's him.
He's garbage, and I don't want to openly be mean to someone. Like, I don't feel good making someone else feel worse about themselves, no matter how crappy of a person they are, but I would never be able to talk to that dude and not just be smiling the whole time. It's one of those situations where a person just succeeds in life despite a bunch of other things, but we're not going to get into details on that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I really don't want to see that human ever again.
But yeah, I love that stupid fucking display. They're like, how do we set up Stadia? A timeline. It goes Dreamcast, Power Glove, ET, our game. Anything you dream can be built. Frank Cifaldi provided the things for that Stadia display, saying they didn't know if they wanted and changed the scope like 4 times and then picked 2 concepts that did not make sense.
That sounds like Google. Man, I wonder why we're so cynical when these Silicon Valley companies that don't legitimately try to understand an industry enter it. Weird. Anyway.
Okay, yeah, the whole, I retweeted the thread about it. It's so bad where he's like, I barfed out some text describing each thing and told them, this is for context, have your writers redo it. They printed it as is with typos. So I'm not at all shocked that they've given up after things didn't work out after, like, what, a year. This next news, I screamed talking about this, Dan.
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo is replacing their NEX multiplayer system with a new system called NPLN.
Well,
They've been using...
Real quick, Nex, I've never heard of that before. Can you tell me what that is? Is there a boogeyman at Nintendo I should have known was ruining my life for the past decade?
Yeah, it's something it's some server system that they have been using since 2003 on the GameCube. For, I guess, stuff like when Phantasy Star was up on GameCube, and you'd have the GameCube controller where the middle of it was a really long keyboard.
I still want that controller because that's the funniest shit in the goddamn world.
You know, this news came out, and I was just like, yeah, what? Did you not expect this? Like, this is fully what I expect.
I mean,
Nintendo.
just the fact it got confirmed.
Yes, it's hilarious.
Yeah, the fact that it got confirmed, but when it came out, that Splatoon 2 has a check function to see if it's running on Windows 98. We reached a level beyond anything I could have expected. Who knows how old the new system is, but Monster Hunter Rise apparently is using it.
Oh, that's cool. It's hard to have a system as bad as what Nintendo's been doing for years.
Now I have an issue that I need to mention, Dan, that's killing me, and I'm worried.
Okay.
They said that it was even present in the demo. Now, the demo ran fine, however, had a glitch no one has ever seen before, where if your friend list was really big, the game ran worse.
How does this keep happening?
So, if you played that demo with a maxed out friends list, the game ran like at half frame rate or some shit like that, and they're like, what you gotta do is you gotta make a new account that has less friends, or you just unfriend a bunch of people and it'll work just fine. Mine wasn't at the limit, where I think it's once you hit 50, it starts affecting the game, and then Capcom went, this will be fine in the full game. But I'm like, is this a taste of what stupid quirks they're already trying to work out on this online system? That would be really funny. We don't know if it's related, but I hope it is.
What you're telling me is the next Pokemon game is going to be so amazing, I'm going to blow a load in my pants.
Yes, absolutely. I'm very excited.
God.
So we got, I got 2 more things here. First up, we'll do the Embracer Group. They formerly like THQ Nordic. They have acquired Gearbox, and they're like gonna merge. They just did that for like $363 million.
I feel like Gearbox is worth more than that. That seems like...
I saw a thing where it's like the shares or something with the stock would make it come out to like over $1 billion.
Okay.
Where it's like they're going to reap a lot more off that than just $363 million. But they did that. They bought some other studios. Yeah, they keep doing that. I feel like we get a story like this every couple of months from Embracer.
Yeah, no, we had one late last year that it was like 20 different companies. We got 2 of these right next to each other.
3.
We got THQ Nordic. Oh, I missed the third one.
Oh, no, I mean
Jesus
with
Christ.
this one.
Oh, well, no, literally, we got 2 that day.
We got 3 with this one. They announced 2 other things alongside Gearbox. They're acquiring
Asper,
who does a bunch of... Yeah, Aspire, who does a bunch of ports, and rumor, I didn't put this in the news, it's just rumored, that they might be the ones making that new Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, that was the rumor.
And they also got Easy Brain, who is a big mobile developer.
Okay, that was the one I did not catch. Huh. But yeah, they just keep buying stuff up. So I saw, thanks, KZ, a Smooth Brain take that this was signing the death of the game industry.
Yeah, it's from the Gamatsu comments. They're all very intelligent, I promise.
I saw that comment where it's like they keep buying studios. It's almost like we're going to have a video game crash.
No, it's almost like every industry's consolidating, you fucking idiot. Pay attention.
No.
Okay, well, fuck. We're screwed.
So this last news was kind of surprising because it's been so long. EA Sports just announced that they're going to be making college football games again after stopping in 2013 because of that whole thing of the NCAA, and they don't want to pay. They don't want their players to get paid because they're evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay for us to make millions of dollars off the likenesses of these college players, but it's not okay for the college players to make money. We're pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Most of us are sexual predators.
Yeah.
This was all in the
That's
press release.
why-
It was weird.
Yeah,
It was very weird.
They buried it, but it's there.
It's a bold
Yeah,
new step,
yeah.
though, honestly. Honesty is the way forward.
I think it's crazy it took this long.
Yeah,
Working GameStop, I got complaints about this almost daily. From
Yes.
the announcement of 2013 of them no longer doing it till I left the company.
You know,
Just like,
That's
and there were
not a
rumors going
shock.
around for the last 2 years that, oh yeah, it's coming back. They're going to use a mascot on the cover instead of players. And now we're finally here.
Yeah,
it's
there was
gonna
the
use
thing about the
mascot?
covers where
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That was the rumor.
it was my understanding like whoever they put on the cover is someone who graduated.
Which is what they used to do. Like, to be clear,
Yeah.
that they always did that, but then they had likenesses of players in the game, and that's what got them.
Yeah, and now what they're going to do is they said the plan was to randomly generate faces, stats, and player numbers. But if you dig into the interview, they talk about how it's going to take a bit for the game to come out, like a couple of years.
Oh no, still?
Yeah, because they're only just now starting it, and they're writing it, and it's written in a way that it's like, yeah, we feel like the NCAA is finally going to go fuck themselves eventually through getting sued and people actually pushing for them to stop this shit, that we may not even have to do the likeness shit, where we won't actually have to randomly generate it and let these people, actually get rewarded for being in a successful college football team.
yeah.
So it seems like that's their general hope, but yeah, they haven't actually started on, which I'm like, that's fine then. That's good. I'd rather you not put out some of those recent Maddens where all the energy behind it is this is a disgrace.
Yeah.
Even back then, I always heard more enthusiasm over the college games than the Madden itself.
Yeah, NCAA seemed like it was always the popular one. I don't know if that's just the area I'm in or what.
Yeah, because whenever I've seen people talk about it, they've gone, yeah, I barely ever played Madden, but I've always picked up the college stuff every year. So that's interesting seeing that make a bit of movement. Just out of nowhere, they're like, follow this Twitter. And thankfully they did an interview on top of it. I'm glad there's at least something of substance and description of what they plan to do.
So did they just want to call it college football? Is that right? Or does it still have NCAA branding?
Yeah. They don't have the NCAA branding on it at all. So right now it's just EA's college football.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll see. It's still a while out and see what's going on with that.
Okay.
Bob could probably just talk about the next sports thing we got.
Yeah, that's true. It finally happened.
Yeah, last year they announced MLB The Show would be coming to other platforms. Now, finally, they announced MLB The Show 2021. I guess they actually talked about this in 2019 because I thought 2020 would have it.
Yeah.
It's going to come to PS5, PS4, and then Xbox One and Xbox Series.
I'm actually really excited. Those games always look really great, and I, like it to be on more platforms. Like,
Especially when it's the sports game. No one else is making
no one makes a baseball game. Yeah,
Yeah,
these guys have been doing it nonstop the whole time.
Yeah, apparently, 2K was doing it for quite a while, and they were just really bad. So they just got their teeth knocked out of them by the show every year and eventually gave up.
Okay, like NBA Live.
Yes, very much like that situation. It got to the point where the 2K series was doing a contest every year where they gave away $1 million to try and get people to play their game.
And it still didn't work.
Didn't work.
God damn. That's pretty bad.
It is.
So that's coming out in April. I'm looking forward to the Digital Foundry video showing off the differences between PS5, Xbox Series X, and Xbox Series S. That's going to be interesting. You know, they make some, like, that game has always stunned me with how it looks. It's like the sports equivalent of Gran Turismo.
Right.
It's nuts.
I think it was MLB The Show that had the 16-bit thing at some point.
They do arcade modes in those, so it might have done a 16-bit aesthetic at one point.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like 18 or 19 where they just put a Super Nintendo like game in there.
I recall hearing something about that, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it was something I remember that they promoted. It was the only time I remember seeing the show, because I feel like that game just quietly makes its money and doesn't really.
It's weird because it comes down
on any radar.
It shows up at the beginning of the year when people don't expect sports games.
Yeah,
because all those typically hit in that later,
October sort of.
Like August through October. That's when it's normally, but this one's always the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like right at the start of the fall gaming releases.
Which I think they usually get it out in February, and it's actually late coming in April.
You know, this is actually great news because this means there are more platforms available for the composer of the Saga series to play the only game they play sports games on. Did you hear about that?
No.
The composer of the Saga series is like, I don't play RPGs. I just play sports games. I was like,
Okay.
that's fucking great.
You know, it's kind of making sense why it's taking them a couple extra months to get this out, because it just wouldn't boot on Xbox One, and they had to account for that.
Could you imagine if they actually just came out and said, sorry, guys, we can't get into boot?
God.
Don't blame us. MLB's making us do it anyway.
I mean, the funny thing is, this is one of those deals where it's just like, Sony's going to make more money too. And now Microsoft gets a cut. Everyone's happy. Nobody has to choose their platform if they enjoy one type of game. And that's always good.
PlayStation didn't have to put out a statement saying we could hit you.
I want to jump over here to some news from Phil real quick.
Okay.
Let's talk about Sonic Prime.
Okie dokie.
Can I
Hey.
subscribe to it?
They announced Sonic Prime. It's a Netflix cartoon.
Maybe Sonic Plus.
Sonic Max.
It has like the people who behind Ben 10 involved and someone else I forgot the name of.
Yeah, they have Man in Action Studios, which is the Man of Action Entertainment, which is the people who made Mega Man Fully Charged and a few other things recently.
That like gremlin looking Mega Man show.
It is the awful looking CG Mega Man
They
show.
retooled it to be not as Gremlin-esque as the first thing showed, but I haven't watched this myself to know necessarily how good it is. I've heard good things, but we play your Mega Man Maker levels, so the people who talk to us about Mega Man side content maybe be a little biased.
Wild Brain is also involved. They've been behind fucking Johnny Test forever.
Ooh,
Ninjago. They're an animation
a little better.
studio. They got somebody. It has like different people. It has like somebody with a really good pedigree writing it. I think. Yeah, the creator of Ben 10 is writing it. The creator of Ben 10. He wrote a bunch of comics. And
they made like 8. They made like 8 Ben 10 shows. Every time I check back, I'm like, wow, what the fuck's going on over there? Thought there was like 1.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's also one of the creators of Big Hero 6, the original comic. That the movie
I was going to
based on.
say the writer's Joe Casey. Joe Casey's involved with a ton of Marvel stuff.
Well, this is a Duncan
and
Roulet.
Oh, I was looking at the Joe Casey stuff. I figured that was who was
That's
involved
Duncan
with that.
Roulet, I think is how you say his name. They said it's not a reboot. It's going to take place in the same universe as the games. They're recasting everybody. I didn't put it in the news because I hadn't looked, but the Tails voice actor already said I'm out. Cindy Robinson said on Twitter she's out. So they're just clean start. 2021, next decade of Sonic, I guess, will be a whole new voice cast.
Hopefully it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. I'm like, I will be optimistic until you show something that makes me not.
Yeah,
That's kinda
I'm sure.
where
I'm sure there hasn't been like any Sonic cast thing that I'm like that's bad. Why'd you? Except for Quentin Flynn as Silver Enforcer.
I kind of just stopped associating at some point with these recasts because they kept doing it over and over again. And I've also hit that point where I recognize who they're bringing in. Like the last Shadow they got was Kirk Thornton, and I like that guy. He's in like everything. He's like Sykes in Kingdom Hearts. Does not fit a Shadow for me at all. it's not great. So I'm hoping they got some good.
I'm sure
good
Kirk
cast
Thornton's
to
out too. He was doing it since 2010. So.
Oh yeah. I definitely expect like every single character has been recast in this. I hope they're good and not like incredibly recognizable JRPG voice actors, because that's kind of what Sonic became toward the end, where it's like, I know every single person here.
I'm interested in them making it part of the game universe. I hope that shows they have confidence in like a new game coming up, and that they can do this to bolster that. I hope that works out.
They said it will continue the momentum Sonic started in 2020, to which I wrote, what? I guess anything over 0 is infinite.
Universe where the Sonic 2020 thing happened in another universe, and we're basing it off that. That's the Prime universe.
I guess you could say the movie, but that came out before COVID, so it's literally the entire world started and ended 4 times since then.
This seems to be the thing they were going to probably try and do with Boom, where they make a show, they make a game, they're rolling together, and if Boom did good, they probably would have made more Booms that weren't just on the 3DS. So I hope this works.
I was like, what is he talking about? I was like, Boom did great. Oh, we're talking the games. Yeah, Boom did bad.
yeah, like the show did some comedy stuff. I haven't engaged with it beyond Twitter clips with clap emojis next to it. So I can't really say anything about that, but seems like they're trying to do that multimedia shit again, and hopefully it does
Sonic
well.
Boom was in the same genre as Gumball, where I mostly saw it through somebody posting a clip with they just, and then it has 85,000 retweets.
I mean, to be fair, both of those shows are pretty good, which is funny because the beginning of Sonic Boom is kind of not great. Like the first episode is trash. The second episode is mildly better. The third episode's good, and from there it just seems to be getting better as it goes. But yeah, anyway,
I will say though, if they have recast Eggman for the first time in like 20 years, you better pick someone good.
Yeah, no, that is
Eggman. You cannot. I don't know how you would ever top Mike Pollock.
Yeah,
you can't.
I'm sure it would just be like, what the fuck are you doing?
He's perfect.
We recast everyone. Everyone's silent now.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Okay. I just wanted to talk about that. We can now go to Bob.
Everyone's silent to match the Genesis games.
Yeah.
That's not true. They made sounds in Sonic CD.
No one remembers Sonic CD.
My name's Sonic. I'm going to kill myself because you're not going anywhere. Bye.
Oh no! Why would you do that, Sonic?
I don't know why Sonic CD Sonic does that.
He thought it was cool. He was very wrong.
He did think it was cool to throw away all of my lives and continues.
God,
did Yuji Naka make that one?
I think he did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one he worked on.
Wait.
I'm thinking about if you idle too much of Bland Wonderworld, it just breaks.
No, he actually worked on Sonic 2. He worked on Sonic 2 with an American team or a more Western team, and then Naoto Oshima.
Okay, Oshima's responsible for CD. Okay,
all right.
Yeah, I was pulling it up.
Don't worry, he's still on Bland Wonderworld, so it still applies.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Be careful. Don't idle too much in that game, guys.
So, Skullgirls. We got a new trailer. Showed off Annie.
Yeah.
She's coming soon.
Annie's hype.
Yeah, Annie's real cool. And they also, at the end of it, there's going to be more characters, they've said. So,
wow.
Now there's another character coming up. We don't know who it is. Part of my brain's
Dan
like,
can still win.
Part of my brain's like, is this what they found to do with the indivisible characters they animated?
And Bob was like, Shovel Knight coming to Skullgirl.
Guacamelee Man.
That would really ruin it.
Legitimately, they put out an image of all those other silhouettes they made back when they did the Kickstarter voting process. And so all of those are on the table again, I think.
This is how I win.
So I'm very
Yeah, I know.
excited.
I will be so happy. I'm like, I have no idea who this is, but she always looks sad when Dan posts about it.
Yeah, I think that'll be crazy if it's on Umbrella.
Yeah, I'm going to change my profile. I'm going to Photoshop her to be smiling like Busey if she gets it. That's going to be my new PSN profile image.
Do you think that like all the drama with Mike Z and this was made some investor go, "Oh, that exists. I'll give them money." I think it'd be funny because that's like the most attention Skullgirls got forever.
Yeah, I mean they were planning on stuff for the mobile game in order to throw it back into the main game for a while now. So there's been work there. I don't think this did anything, but I'm sure separating off from Lab Zero certainly helped some things get done because now it cleaned up their plate and they aren't working on Indivisible. So that definitely gets more progress in the Skullgirls dimension.
This was a good fighting game trailer.
Yeah.
Yes.
I forgot what those looked like.
I mean, one cheeky intro of Annie when, Annie now. And then all these cool shots of her moves and aesthetic choices in editing. And then ending with, hey, and also more characters. It was a very satisfying trailer. Bob, did we have any other fighting game trailers this week?
I don't know if they put out a trailer for it, but we got to see Iori's new design.
And MP4 ended up on YouTube.
I made that joke, but I forgot there was a KOF trailer for Iori.
Yes, there is technically a trailer out there. It's the same as the rest of them. Maybe we got to see a little bit more than normal, but it's still
I get to see
pathetic.
his full laugh.
Yeah, we got to see his laugh.
That's important.
The new Iori outfit looks like to KOF 2000's another Iori, which is what he was called as a striker.
Oh, he looks dope. I like his look in this.
Yeah, the trench coat's pretty nice. It's a good choice. But yeah, I really like the design because it's another Iori has a very strong energy of a woman who is similar to Chihiro Morimura.
You're gonna open up the fucking book, the little back of the book thing, and it's gonna be like, here's an entry for Iori and another one for another Iori.
So that's hype. I'm very excited to play this game. I wish that they would just stop having weekly updates and release it in big chunks that make me hype.
Yes, that would be great.
Every 3 weeks, you get a trailer that's the team.
Yeah, that would have made so much more sense.
Yes. Considering this is all they're going to show of each character, it would make more sense to do it as a team thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well. That ship sailed.
Yeah, it has. They're dedicated to this now every week. We also got Akira Yamaoka apparently in some interview came out and said, I'm working on another project. I can talk about it in summer. It's it's quote, the one you've been waiting for. So,
oh, fuck.
So that's, pretty likely Silent Hill. We'll see. Either that or just
yeah. What else would people wait for him for?
Right?
A sequel to that game you made with Suda.
Do you have a name?
I forgot.
So did I.
Move on. We're not correcting it either.
Judgment got announced for a PS5 Series X edition. Oh, and Stadia edition.
Yeah.
It runs at 60 now. Pay for it again. They didn't say how much. They didn't give us a price. They're just like, yeah, you have to buy it. You don't get the.
I think they said it was going to be 40.
I didn't see a price anywhere when I looked.
I thought I saw 42.
Okay, maybe the somewhere.
40
I
seems
was kind of shocked looking at the trailer for that because they just made the game look worse.
They did recolor it for some reason.
What? Like, there's really good shading on like the main guy's like model, and now he looks, I guess, to be more in line with what they're doing with Yakuza 7. His model looks completely washed out now. And like,
I'm looking it up.
A little bit of that Assassin's Creed energy.
It looks like they just switched it to the lighting system from 7.
Yeah, they should just switch it back to the old one and let it run at 60, and then it's perfect. But I saw some people going, yeah, this makes it a tough choice of play it at 30 where it looks good or play it at 60.
No, play it at 18 where it looks good.
Yeah.
Not play it at 30.
On the PS5, it plays 30.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe I'd have to try
at
that
no point,
secret
at no
boss.
Point. At no point am I ever thinking about the idea of playing a game on a PS4.
It literally turns into a slideshow on the PS4 Pro. Like, it goes down to like 2 frames a second on that secret boss. I wonder if even the PS5 can handle it.
But yeah, that's a little disappointing.
Well,
It feels
cool.
like something that should have been in an update and just
Yeah.
Buying it.
See,
again,
I would
ridiculous.
consider it if they're like, we were removing the trailing minigames.
yeah, if they did anything to like spruce it up, like even if they added like new facts or something instead of just it's the same exact game. Oh right, I guess it comes with the DLC, which I don't.
Which is
think there was
costumes,
any
I think.
significant
There's like they've never done like content DLC for those games. It's all just like
yeah, I think it's literally
costumes.
like not even costumes for your character. I think it's costumes for the people you can date or something.
yeah, that's a Yakuza thing.
Let's see what else I got here.
But yeah. Here's the comparison I saw.
Yep.
Bottom one's the PS5.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Weird.
just watching the trailer, I can tell they turned the contrast way down.
Yeah, that's strange.
Because here's the thing, right? I don't trust it until I see it coming out of the game because it's so easy to fuck up colors on YouTube.
Right.
But still, it totally looks like the contrast has been turned way
Yeah,
the
that
fuck down.
just looks like 7.
That's unfortunate.
That's so strange.
Yeah. And of course, this means all versions of this naturally don't have the that one dude who got erased from history.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Well, that dude
We
has
didn't even
always
get
been
that.
gone
That's-
unless you bought
That's
unless
true.
you bought like a first print edition of the game in Japan.
Yeah, his legacy is dead.
We got another Chinese studio going to bigger game development now. It's Digital Sky
Ooh,
making Project DT.
Devil Trigger?
It looks like it plays like Devil May Cry, but it's a sci-fi action game.
Okay.
So you're playing this like girl that looks somewhat like Makoto Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell, fighting giant robots and regular size robots, like a raptor robot. It looks cool.
Yeah, it looks cool.
I hope this actually turns out well.
you did like a Mad Libs of cool shit.
Yes, basically.
But yeah, previously they worked on the DBZ and a Tokyo Ghoul mobile game. So this is the first time going to like full on, we're making a big game.
Cool. I'm always interested in getting more people in this space making cool shit.
Yeah, I feel like one of my favorite parts of the PS2 is all the weird games, action games that get made. It feels like it doesn't happen
Yeah.
anymore.
I'm still really hoping that everybody wanting to be Dark Souls eventually leads into people tricking themselves into making normal action games again. Like, let's take out some of the Dark Souls stuff that's more abrasive. Oops,
Yeah,
we just made an action game.
Yeah, I
Why
think
don't we make an easier Dark Souls that's faster? Oh shit, it's just an action game now.
right. Like I think that these Chinese companies coming in are going to be doing that because like this and Wukong give me hope.
Yeah,
Even
that's fair.
even Genshin is like decent in the action department. Like, it's an RPG, but you still have like jump canceling and dash canceling to get better DPS.
Yeah, it feels a lot better than certain things. Like better than Dark Souls, that's for sure. In my last piece of news,
Yeah.
we had a big investor call with Activision Blizzard. This is just a few little things I gleaned from it. Neither Overwatch 2 or Diablo 4 are coming out this year.
Diablo 4, expected. Overwatch 2, are you fucking serious?
Yeah,
that
like-
thing just looked like new maps. Not
Yeah.
even new.
Yeah,
New modes.
new mode
Old
for old
maps.
maps.
Yeah. I'm gonna treat it as good news because I'd like the single player stuff to be better. So if they're spending more time on that, then sure.
KZ,
I will
check this out. Wait,
apologize to-
guys. Hear me out. No matter how much time they spend on it, KZ, you're not going to get that single player story content for Angelo.
What? Are you trying to trick me into thinking this is Destruction All Stars 2?
I'm just saying, ain't happening.
But it seemed like they were really pushing for this too, given the fact that they've stopped doing anything for Overwatch 1 at all besides skins.
Yeah, it seems crazy that basically support for Overwatch 1 is stopped. So I figured 2 was around the corner, but I guess not.
And when they revealed it, they showed like 3 new maps. Like they flashed 3 new maps and like another new character. So
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to completely change the whole idea behind it or not, or what's happening now.
they're gonna delete characters that they think are bad now.
But
Good.
there are some things coming this year, guys.
Uh-huh.
Diablo Immortal is going to come out. That's the mobile game. Everybody's hyped for that, right?
Does it work with a controller? That determines whether or not I give a remote shit.
I doubt it. I haven't said. I don't think.
I don't have a problem with mobile games. I just hate trying to do action-y shit on a touchscreen. That's it. That's all that matters.
I watched a preview of this like a month ago, and it was someone going, "The touch controls are fine, but I fat finger a lot." And I'm like,
Android looks like all the mobile sites are in cope mode, going, "No, guys, it's fine. It's a real game."
And then we're supposed to see quote unquote remastered content this year. So maybe that's a Diablo 2 remaster. Maybe it's something else. I don't know.
If they don't massively fuck it up, I never really played Diablo 2 back in the day beyond putting one coin on every single tile and laughing as people cried.
Diablo 2 is really great. It is a fantastic game. And if they delete the original Diablo like they did with Warcraft 3 Remastered, Jesus Christ.
they will.
Yeah, they will. Like, they never put up the old Warcraft again, so that like they don't care. They have no intention.
That's
Let me be clear. There should be adverse action taken
because Diablo 2
if
was
they
like
do that to Diablo 2.
It's such a like paragon of the genre.
Yeah.
Like it's just so defining. It's disgusting to think they would delete it.
Right. It would be the equivalent of just like, I don't even fuck it. There's so few games that define their genres as easily and as profoundly. It's like if Capcom remastered 4 and delisted 4 from literally Resident Evil 4 from everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like Street Fighter 2. Like, oh yeah, no, it's gone. Street
It's
Fighter
gone
2
from
doesn't
everything.
exist.
We have 3. What do you want?
we have Bite the Dust. It now no longer exists.
Yeah.
Fucking
that
Killer
remake
Queen is
came
in
out-
Ryu's eye.
Yeah. They remade that game, so there's no way to buy Final Fantasy VII now.
Yeah.
The original. They've just delisted it from everywhere instead of what they do now, which is port it literally everywhere multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be... I don't even want to think about it. I'm going to move on. Moving out of here. Also, yes, mobile games are real games. That doesn't mean I need to respect them. Hey, Feel.
Okay, we'll whip through these real quick. Sega and Sammy are restructuring. I'm not going to go into the complexities. Basically, they're more thoroughly fusing into one company and reducing redundant positions because they had a lot of redundant executive and I guess marketing and stuff positions that they didn't need. They made people read, because I don't know why it's called in Japanese law absorption type split, but there is no splitting. They're actually becoming more one company more.
Is that a Yu-Gi-Oh card?
Yeah,
That might
like-
be a junction equip in a Final Fantasy or Third Birthday. Maybe I didn't use it.
Like based on the name, I understand why some people misrepresented this into thinking that they were more thoroughly splitting apart. I don't forgive them for not just going to the financial document and just looking at this diagram that is in the financial document announcing this, where it's like, here's what it was before, here's what it is now, one thing.
No, people just read headlines and then they make articles going, Microsoft should buy them.
Yeah, what are they, me panicking in the middle of a podcast opening a Wikipedia page for Man of Action Entertainment, and then accidentally reading the wrong writer? Like, what the fuck, guy?
In a similar note,
Don't worry about it.
Sony Kadokawa, which is a big Japanese conglomerate that owns a million things, including FromSoft,
Yes.
and Cyber Agent are forming a capital alliance, which just means we're gonna work together and make things.
Is it like the Shuffle Alliance?
Yes.
Yo.
And the last thing, Mass Effect Legendary Edition was announced. It's going to come out May 14th. It will be at 4K, have HDR and 60 frames per second, judging from the trailers. It will not have redone animations, which are still hilarious.
Now, I've handed this trailer footage to a team of scientists who analyzed it to realize this game always looked like shit.
People are like, it's full of lens flares. And I'm like, Mass Effect literally has like a major faction where their gimmick is they have a giant glowing eye that produces lens flares when they look at you.
But they added even more.
I just wrote it based on comparison shots of here's what Mass Effect 1 looks like now. Giant tower with red electricity. Here's what it looks like now. Brown with a lens flare.
Yeah, Mass Effect, the Mass Effect games had a lot of cheating when it comes to light sources, and now it seems to be more less cheaty because they have the fucking PS5 on their side. So it looks it looks like it's more likely all the lens flares have just moved
I think it's really funny because these parachute shots don't make any sense to have a lens flare part on them. It's like, here's this character's face in the regular game. The new remaster, here's this character's face. There's a lens flare now in the lower right corner for no reason.
I'm an idiot. I should have set up lens flares to happen with our new lighting setup for streams.
I know what shot you're talking about, and I think it's literally because they changed the lighting source to the sun in the window behind it.
So here's the thing I'm fucking tired of. Every remaster of a 7th gen game fucking up the lighting entirely. We're going to play that game, and it's going to look like a fucking joke for some scenes.
Yeah, probably.
It happens with every remaster.
And then I'll be like, actually, Dan, it looked like a joke in the original, too.
Which is when I'm going to corpse on stream because me and Bob are going to death stream all 3 Mass Effect games for $8 million.
You can't death stream any of them. They're all 30 hours.
Yeah, but
Did you see Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah,
what 30 plus hours.
Yeah,
stream.
I was like, what if we ever death streamed anything for 30 plus hours?
Yeah, but you could have tapped out at any point there. You're just crazy. Cool.
I might play these.
Also, they said they were
That's
going
cool.
to do gameplay changes to 1, which I looked it up, just means like you have aim assist now, and we changed the thing where your class determines what weapon you can use. Now everybody can use every gun.
Oh, they ruined it.
And apparently the vehicle controlled really bad.
Oh,
the
it
first one, they said they're
controlled
gonna make it.
horribly. It was
I've heard a
really
lot
bad.
about the Mako tank. Yeah,
That's a part of the aesthetic. What the hell are they doing?
they should add the Mako tank original into every game.
This,
I don't think it was in any of the others.
Exactly.
quit.
That's why I said add. Yeah.
This is just making them fixing how the vehicles feel. Reminds me, I peeked into a Reset Era thread that it was like, why does everyone talk about 7th gen? The opening post is 7th gen was terrible. It was horrible. 4 posts in, a guy's like, 7th gen games are fine when you play at modern frame rates and resolution. I'm like, that's not what those were.
Yeah, that's
You can't sit there and play a game at 60 frames per second in 4K and be like, man, that was great when it ran at 20 at 640p. Daddy's mad.
544p.
It's Vita resolution. Oh, it was on the Vita? No.
Right.
Also, there's this character in Mass Effect 2 and 3 named Miranda, and her defining feature is her ass is really, like, she wears really like a really tight jumpsuit, so her ass crack is just in every shot she's in. They're toning that down, which I'm opposed to because now she just has no character. That was her only character trait.
Okay,
You about knocked me the fuck out.
I'd heard of this character. I figured there was something I was missing.
No, that's literally all that she has no character. People remember her ass and nothing else.
That's bullshit.
let me be clear. Official GigaBoots stance is do not take the sexy out of video games. Just turn it up in every direction. I want Shepard to look like the dude from Altered Beast, just covered in oil.
And now
Shep, you're in space. Why are you taking your shirt off?
I did this on Twitter, but we now have to do it again. We have to do it here on the podcast to get our official take. And we might have done this already, and I fucking forgot because I'm senile. Will they replace the stock photo in Mass Effect 3?
They've said that they're taking like AI upscaling old textures. So I don't think they will.
Are we going to see an AI upscale?
No, it's just like a
stock
smudge.
photo?
No, that's the only way it could be more pathetic than just not changing it.
Yeah.
It upscales their
Okay.
face and she looks like Gary Busey.
Also, do you think Jessica
Gary?
Chobot's still going to be in the game? Chobot?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. Also, Gary, next Podlord, do that. Do the Mass Effect 3 photo, but it's you.
No.
Thank you.
Oh, man.
My prediction is no, they will not change it because I feel like the vast majority of work beyond getting them running and fine on this current gen is Mass Effect 1, and they're not going to touch the later
They
shit.
really upped the textures. They already are putting in more effort than I expected. Like,
I mean, if it's an AI-driven machine learning
it's AI.
upscale, that's
Yeah, it is.
not.
You know,
Right,
you
like
know what?
that's what they said
I'm
was.
changing my mind. They
Beep
won't
boop.
change it because they came out earlier. This won't have one of the DLCs for 1 because someone else made it and we don't have the source files, and also we can't figure out how to make a room that has combat simulators in it. We can't
That's
recreate it.
depressing. Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
What a great way to end our news.
That's got some real Master Chief Collection energy of we don't know how to make the audio not shit. And then 8 years later, get the original guys who did it for Halo to do it again. I am legitimately interested in that. I hope it's not the same situation we saw with all the Arkham collections and every other 7th gen remaster where it's just like, oops, all fucked up lighting. But that's it. Bob, I'm broke, so I'm not doing anything in the next week. What are you doing in the next week?
Oh, shit.
Well, we have those new series running, the CRT one and the Playing Your Dreams.
Last Friday, as of this going up, was we play your Mega Man Maker levels live. Who knows how that went?
Right.
That's crazy. And I guess a Conquer thing's coming soon, but who knows when.
Right. We don't want to just set anything in stone because we need to figure things out.
Yeah, if we say a day right now, it'll be wrong.
Yeah.
It could have already happened. Probably. Maybe. Could have. Anyway, KZ, what do you have going on in the next week?
I'm coming to a realization because I'm going to be continuing to stream. We're going to finish up Final Fantasy IV. And I have a Mister coming in, which means the first thing I play for the internet on a Mister may in fact be Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
Ooh.
Yes.
at 1440p.
Hell yeah.
That seems good. I'm also real excited because in between the time, by the time this comes out, the big Final Fantasy 14 event will have happened where they're going to announce their expansion and maybe like new classes. Maybe they'll fucking put the Geomancer into that game.
Will we find out if they named something as dumb as we thought it was the other day? I don't remember.
It might be Forspoken, which is the trademark. And if it's that, Bob, you will know in 22 hours because it's happening tomorrow.
I'm very excited.
Yes, I am so excited. It's gonna be Forspoken with very nice Amano art behind it, but still Forspoken. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna keep on streaming. Maybe I'll run that Mister without exploding it.
Hey, Phil, what you got going on?
We're going into Dragon Age Inquisition, the last game they've released in the Dragon Age franchise. I expect it to hurt me less than 2, but also it's going to probably be at least twice as long, even with the mods I'm downloading to specifically make it go faster. I found a guide that's like, here's how you beat the game as quickly as possible. So I'm going to be following that, because this game can be like 160 hours long.
Oh,
They just made tons and tons of giant areas for you to wander around in.
Yeah, I listened to podcasts like regularly when this came out, and a dude said you got to get out of this area at the start, and then someone's like, I've already been, and that person spent 35 hours in that starting area, and it's 10% into the game.
They put the worst area at the start, and it's also the biggest one. It's a very BioWare move where it's like, run around the starter area of an MMO, like the most basic forest, for 20 hours. But I'm going to be playing on
It's going to be a good stream.
And I'm going to have the mod that makes because the original Dragon Age Inquisition had a thing called the War Table, where you would like manage the Inquisition. You'd manage the Inquisition. It used a real-time clock.
oh no.
So it'd be like, I want to do this operation. That'll take 5 hours to execute. Luckily, there is a mod that just sets it all to 0.
Oh.
And I can reveal this now because it's after at least one of the streams. In Dragon Age Origins, I played a mage. In Dragon Age 2, I played a rogue. Dragon Age Inquisition, I'll be playing as a warrior, and the character I will be playing is Warrior Face.
God damn it, no!
Yes!
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Big Think Dimension. If you would like to support the GB Podcast Network, head on over to patreon.com/GB Podcast, so that way you can get exclusive behind the scenes on stuff, other content. There's a lot of content. It's basically non-ending avalanche of content. So head on over there, become a $5 backer or a Podlord today.